Going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Screw Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them teddy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. One day, very soon, gonna wake up on the moon. Brand new yacht and a McDonald's in my living room. Bright yellow Lamborghini, 50-meter swimming pool. Champagne every day, hey fam, what you do? Wanna hang, wanna chill? Oh, you got a mansion too? Oh, that's right, held on tight, jack titties every night. We was in way back when they tried to drop it down to 10. Angies couldn't comprehend, Ace was strong until the end. Now let's retell it, Citadel they be sweating. Had enough of these felons, but the Ace we rebelling. Cause we never be selling till we send it to heaven. Now we be out here yelling, hey screw you Kenny. Bought my wife a minivan to share with the boyfriend, but I pull up in the Benz plate saying I love crayons. Going on an airplane, don't think we'll be back again. Celebrating every day like it's your birthday. Screw Kenny cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tandy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Screw Kenny cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tandy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Expectation, probably more manipulation. FUD, a creation of a crooked operation. Bought more while it was low, got more dips than Trader Joe's. Oh, you thought that we'd let go? What the hell you take us for? Holla if you spend your last dollar on bananas while living in squalor. We don't claim to be scholars, we the smooth brain dummies, and we never stood taller. Yeah, we do this for love and we do this for honor. Apollo 11 ain't got nothing on us. We the planet of the apes and in MOS we trust. MOASS, oh hell yes. Gonna send it into space, go fire up the jets. Done my DD, call me Elton John, Rocket Man. This is the way, gonna be gorillionaires. Ground control to Major Tom, we about to have liftoff. Call us Neil Armstrong, gonna keep holding on. Screw Kenny cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them titties so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Screw Kenny cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them titties so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon.
Welcome to Marantz Rantz, no advice on finance. Spin the wheel and take a chance. Get an NFT and a little education. The system got undertow, that knowledge is flotation. You wanna learn? Well, you came to right place. You pumping AMC, might get slapped in the face. Get your due diligence, know who the villain is. Don't be a sheep when the shepherd's carnivorous. So come learn, laugh, and maybe you win big. And listen up, y'all, the wheel is not rigged. Everybody get a chance in the live chat. Kyoto spin wheel, you win just like that. Retail fight back and this retail winning. Y'all just wait, man, this is just the beginning. All fellow simians, GME group singing the truth. We just chillin', infinity pool swimming. So welcome to Marantz Rantz. A lot of knowledge but no advice on finance. Don't even need pants, you can tune in naked like Kenny the Mayo Man. Internet's most hated. Don't wanna lose your money, then it's time for you to listen. If you're ignorant, invest in AMC, a superstition. The stream about ready, they told us to don't dance. I do what I want. Welcome to Marantz Rantz. 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 Welcome to Marantz Rantz.
There it is. There it is. Finally at 51 shares. That's what he tells me. Welcome back, guys, and good evening. Coming to you live from California. Okay, welcome back to Marantz Rants. Plenty of good information, a little bit of motivation, a whole lot of truth, no financial advice in the basement, in the lab, right here in Southern California. What a great day to be alive. And I will tell you the stock, of course, 56th day this year, hit an all-time high. What the hell is going on? You know, I actually called it out last night. I said it was the lowest day in trading in 20 years for the SPY. The actual ETF that tracks the S&P 500 was at the lowest volume ever. So I wanted to go look at something really quick before we get started throughout our journey tonight. We have plenty to watch, plenty to do. But let's go look at SPY. Did they trade more today? Volume 42 million. So 42 million, not as small as yesterday, but still plenty at the top. Do I think this is the top of it all? I think the fundamentals of the stock market have not really come into play. A couple of different things that just are going to happen suddenly. You're going to see a down round from AI sometime this year, 2025. Whether it be the carried interest of even the national debt, the carried interest of individual companies. They've been carrying this interest at these interest levels. The cost of capital is going to adjust. Therefore, valuations will adjust. So I know what's going to happen to the market. It's going to be very unfortunate for a lot of people. But if you're buying index or weighted index funds, the issue is you're buying the top of something. I'm going to give you this example, okay, guys? And I hope it makes sense to you in a bigger world. Bitcoin. I had this guy come in here and tell me he's a Bitcoin bull, and he thinks Bitcoin's going to 250,000, and he's buying it, and he's green, he says, and he's been buying it since 60, and he's buying it at 90. Look at it, it's 95,000. I gotta buy it. Look how high it is. Okay, so where's it gonna go? Like, where is Nvidia gonna go? They're at $3 trillion. Are they going up an additional billion or an additional trillion? Even if it were to go up an additional $1 trillion, it's only 25% of your money. If it's at $3 trillion and you put in $300 billion, that's 10% of your money. That's the difference. That's what you're getting. You're not getting much for buying the top of something that eventually will be the highest risk, because that risk can come tumbling down with overvaluations. Now, when the market says it's all capped out, and everybody's like, look at this market, look at these shares, look at how high they are. Just when you think they can't go any higher, they keep going. People keep pumping it. And I'm just blown away that people have found cash somewhere. But wait. You see, that's the whole thing, guys. For this market to go higher, you had to find cash somewhere. And I've seen the outflow from the market versus the inflow. I've seen the sell-off of securities and hanging on to cash, like GameStop, like Warren Buffett, like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. People have cash right now, and they're sitting on the sidelines. Dry powder from all the financial institutions in the world. Not banks per se, but when you look at Apollo, you look at Oaktree, you look at, I guess, Blackstone, BlackRock, Vanguard, there's plenty of people out here with cash on the side waiting. And what are they waiting for? They're waiting for that correction because the economic fundamentals don't make sense. They don't. And I know there's stretched valuation, but for everyone, right? You just can't come out here and say, GameStop's overvalued. It's just, is it? Or is the whole market out to lunch? That's the way I see it. That's the way I've seen it, to have these 56 days of all-time highs this calendar year for the S&P 500, 41 days of an all-time high for the NASDAQ 100. What does that mean? That means that the top half, the big half, the Mag 7 are carrying the indexes. You don't believe it? There was 270 decreases today versus 230 increases. Advances versus decliners, right? So more decliners than advancers in the S&P, yet it still went green by $3.75. I saw some other earnings out there, some other headlines. The United Healthcare CEO was assassinated in broad daylight. Now, he was on his way to New York at a shareholders convention, and someone popped out and shot him in the back and in the leg, and unfortunately he was assassinated. His name's Brian, I believe. And I started looking up all of the board of directors for United Healthcare, and I was trying to figure this out, like, why would he get assassinated? And it's a full-on hit, guys. The person who shot him got away on an e-bike, ran into Central Park, had a change of clothes allegedly, and nobody can find him. Okay, and with all the facial recognition cameras, you know what's going on. This is ridiculous, for one. He doesn't have a security detail. He's not supposed to. People should be able to walk around on this planet. But their CEO was assassinated today and this afternoon. It should be national news. It is, to a point. Who's on the board of directors for United Healthcare? Guys, the CEO of Vanguard is sitting there on that board of directors. Additionally, there's money everywhere. I was doing screenshots on my phone to look at all the money involved in that company, and it's very unfortunate for him and his family. But whenever you see something happen you have to ask yourself why. I'm not an investigator anymore. I'm not a guy who's conspiracy about people committing suicide, just like we had when you saw Gustavo Ornell jump off of his apartment building, and or you saw the hedge fund guy, I can't remember his name right now, Thomas H. Lee, who committed suicide in his office at 83 years old, and he's a billionaire. Like, I don't know why these things happen to these guys, but something like this, he didn't commit suicide. He was assassinated, and he was hunted down, and he was killed, and it's unfortunate. So we need to pay attention to that. Thank you so much. Just came in with some extra money, and I know where I'm putting it in GameStop. Well, congratulations on that. What's up, Marantz? At basketball practice with my daughter. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I'm doing better than most. You know, I saw Five and Below has a new CEO, Winnie, Winnie the Pooh. We'll go check her out, too. We'll check out Winnie's track record here. As I go to this, I want to show you here. On the screen right now is Paul Atkins. Now, I have not read this yet. I just pulled it up right as I'm going live with you. Paul Atkins is Donald Trump's pick for the new head of the SEC. He's the presumptive nominee. He has not been confirmed yet, but I'm reading into him. I'm seeing what I can. He looks like a well-to-do guy, Vanderbilt Law School. I have so much more to look into on this guy. But, you know, if he's going to be the guy, you know, somebody was throwing out the words like Donald Trump's going to make short selling illegal and all this other stuff's going to be coming out through it. I don't know which way they're going with this. But apparently this guy has a resume that's worth a damn. So we'll check him out. I don't see any, I don't see any private equity here ties, which really helps out in a way. Because to go from Jay Clayton to Gary Gensler, now to Paul Atkins, I've seen zero enforcement by the other two guys because they're in bed with private equity, like Jay Clayton is. You know, him working with Bain & Company, him working with Apollo directly, him being a lawyer at Sullivan and Cromwell. Like, you know that's the firm, right? You guys need to go watch Connect the Dots episode number 3. Please go watch that, and then you'll understand. But this is why Gary Gensler's lawyer on his staff, his intern, ended up being the head lawyer and legal team for FTX. And this is why FTX doesn't get brought up on charges initially, and they get to launder all this money through that company. And who knows the sweetheart deals they do, right? But I don't know if Paul Atkins is going that route. He seems like a Boy Scout. So I like him. He was appointed by George W. Bush to the SEC as the commissioner back in the day in 2002 to 2008. So he has history in it. He has a good track record. I like him. But we'll see what he's all about, and I'll look more into it. I'm not fully committed to him per se, but he's in a lobbying group in the crypto industry. He believes in crypto just like the rest of them. So that's Paul Atkins. Let's go ahead. Can I Google? What's her name? Can I Google it? I can Google it right here in front of you guys. Winnie the Pooh. Winnie at Five Below. Okay. So Five Below names there she is, Winnie Park. Winnie Park is the new CEO at Five Below. Reason why I have a problem with this, just all the way around, is these are all private equity plays. The guy in place for her right now is Mr. Kenneth Bull, and we'll see what she's all about. She was formerly part of Forever 21. They've gone bankrupt. You see, I already have a problem with that. How are you going to work for a store that already goes bankrupt instantly? Like, that's what you are. She was part of Dockers and Levi Strauss. We know that company as well had a turn when you had, was it Silver Tab Jeans and Levi Strauss with Michelle Gass, formerly of Kohl's, and now she's over there. But she was CEO of Paper Source. So I have to look at this really, really good, dig deep on it. I will dig deep on it. I will find it. For me, this is not a good pickup on Five Below. I know that they have a new CEO, so that's just what it is. Some true indicators of the market being down is going to be the fact that Foot Locker announced a downturn on the economy, that they had a down round right now. They don't believe people are shopping as much as they were, but we know that Foot Locker is embedded with private equity, and their CEO, I forget her name escapes me at the moment, but she's part of the crew, and I'll tell you who, her name was like Marilyn Meredith, I can't remember right now. Foot Locker, I'll tell you right now. Foot Locker CEO. Mary Dillon, there we go. I knew it started with an M. So Mary Dillon, absolutely private equity, like the whole way, right? Like she's the run of the run. on this. And what does she do? She just kind of says, oh, we're not going to do that well. Alta Beauty, PepsiCo. But if you knew her whole run, she's part of KKR. She's an independent director for KKR, Mary Ann Dillon. So not a fan of Mary Dillon and what Foot Locker's doing. But just to come out and say, hey, we had a down round, and that's just where we're headed. True indicators of the market, though, right? Like they tell you they're not going to make it, and that's just what it is. I haven't seen that projection come from. Thank you for your service, Marantz. You are a patriot, family man, believer in God, and, of course, our voice in the greatest investment in GameStop. El Kabong, you're welcome, brother. And I thank you for supporting the channel the way you do. I'm just going to keep grinding, right? I'm going to keep giving you guys info the best way I can. So that's where I'm at. Right now, we're 2 weeks away from the Fed decision. The Fed decision, whether to cut rates or not, looks like they're going to cut rates just based off of principle, not really off of the numbers themselves. If you're going to go off of employment numbers, you got to remember that we finally started hiring people for a season. We started hiring people because of you coming back from hurricanes, the storms, things like that. So the increased on hiring is not going to be a real number, not going to be a true number. So you might get a rate cut come December, just in 2 weeks, but you probably won't get one in January. And when you don't cut rates on the time where they think you will, like somebody's already penciling 6 rate cuts for next year. When you don't get one, now you're like this year where there's only 2. Right? Respectively 2. One last period, and now you have one coming up. So that's a problem because they'll pencil in all these. But you know what's crazy? I don't even think it matters. I don't think rate cuts matter at all. Because the way this market's been going is they announce it, oh, we're not going to cut. And that should put a wrench into it. And then what happens? Boom, it goes. And so January comes, I think they don't cut rates. And I think that it's going to try to trigger some type of recession. But who knows? Who knows where this market can go? I think it's an AI issue. And I have a big problem with AI. Big problem with how top-heavy it is. Okay? So that's just the way I see it. If you guys ever want to know my notes, like while I'm driving and I'm thinking, I'm brainstorming, this is Jack in the Box tacos. Okay? There's my notes. That's how my mind works. I put one word down, and then I get triggered. The other word that I put down is American Eagle. Somebody tried to tell me American Eagle is a true indicator of this economy, and I'm just like, you're crazy. One, it's not price efficient for a lot of families. American Eagle apparently is stocking up on inventory, aren't they? Because they're afraid of tariffs. It's American Eagle. Don't they make their clothes in America? Why else am I paying $50 for a pair of jeans? This is ridiculous, American Eagle. And yeah, so they missed marks. They barely missed marks, but still the stock was down about 8% the last I saw. So December 10th is important, but December 20th is super crucial. Yes, December 20th is the day that GameStop takes off. I said it. I don't care. What are you going to do to me? I told Amo this morning. I'm going to call, hey, what's up, bro? What you mean by the 20th, bro? I said, what do you mean what do I mean by it? What do you mean? I said it's going. It's going, gone. GameStop's earnings are on the 10th. You'll get that negative bullshit going. Oh, they actually have less revenue. Oh, they close more stores. Oh, they don't do as much. Shut up. Punch you in the throat, kids. Let me tell you something. GameStop, infinitely profitable. Don't care what they tell me. I knew this 2 years ago. I knew it 3 years ago. Do you remember me? Do you remember me? All of you naysayers out there, when I barely had 100 people watching. Do you remember? Because I would say it like this. GameStop's a profitable company. They make money. They're just sandbagging the number. They're hiding their expenses in the SG&A. They make money. They're profitable even now. What is he talking about? He doesn't know. What happened? SEC files a letter to GameStop, says, GameStop, you need to be more transparent. Looks like you're sandbagging the number. You're hiding profits in your SG&A. Huh? How do you get that right? Hey, they lost $500 million in 2022. I said, I don't care what they lost. They're profitable. They're a profitable company. They're making money. They're doing the right things. GameStop, best leadership in the world. They're running the business the right way. Every accountant in the world, all you CPAs on the meltdown. Marantz doesn't know how to do math. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He can't even, what the hell is he talking about? This guy's crazy. Right? He doesn't know. They lost money. They lose money every quarter. And I'm like, yeah, bros, don't worry about it. They're just shuffling things around. They're just making it. I know it because I can see it. I can read it. I see the sheet the way you're supposed to see it. Yeah, no, they all said I was wrong. Hold on. 2 years later, my friend. Was I wrong? That's the best part. That's the best part. Oh, guys, I get a little teary-eyed. All right, last bit of notes here before I go read the chat and go into the other stuff we're going to go over tonight is it says cap. Oh, I already said that part. Yeah, I felt that way. I said, no way, cap-weighted AETFs. You're going to get crushed when the reaction comes. Some can't tell when our jokes. No. American Eagle is it really? I had no idea. I remember you, but also, didn't you say also say GME was going to hit $47 on your birthday? Or was that a joke? Johnny. Anybody seen Johnny? By the way, GameStop on the 20th is going to go up about $3, bros. $3, bros. Gonna go approach 30 again. We're going to go fight with 29.80 on the 20th. On the 20th of December. Boom, 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 boom. Rockets gonna. All you're gonna do when you come to this chat and channel, this is what you're gonna hear, guys. You're gonna see GameStop just like go like. You're gonna look up, and it's just gonna go like. I swear, I can't even make this up. You're just gonna look up. You're gonna go like this, huh? I told you.
I'm rich, I'm pretty, got an apartment in the city and a beach house off the coast that costs a couple milli. We are going toe to toe, we be singing while we're winning. By the time I'm 24, it's hard to deal with it. If you got a man, send his brokers back to bed, cause tonight we flying high first class to Japan. Eating sushi, wearing Gucci hot springs, cause we can. Sipping on sake, making $1 million plans. Super yacht, smoking pot with our $1 billion friends. Bright lights, white lines, summer in the south of France. We're going on a plane and we won't be back again, cause we're heading to the moon, screaming catch me if you can. So I'm about a 9, but she thinks I'm a 7. Got money, all of a sudden she thinks I'm 11.
Wow, how much did you make?
Nah, I never be telling. Let's just say I went through hell to be living in heaven. Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-cha-cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now. Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-cha-cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now. Middle finger up, come on, let us sing now. Make money, middle finger up, come on, let us sing now. I am fly man, diamonds on the hand. Got money in the pocket, about to pop a rubber band. Fly to an island off the coast of Iran. Got money in advance, so the honeys all dance. Got 25,000 in the duffel loud plan. It's a G6 like a taxi cab. Tell your girlfriends that they can bring their friends. Make rain, get paid, go play, full send. Big gold chains even with embargoes. Got diamonds on the neck like Leonardo. You don't even wanna know how fast the car go. When I peel off in the Mercy a Lago. Got foreign doors and marble floors with an army force on the count of 4. Ready, lock and load, let's rock and roll. When we talk it over, it was nice to know ya. So I'm about a 9, but she thinks I'm a 7. Got money, all of a sudden she thinks I'm 11.
Wow, how much did you make?
Nah, I never be telling. Let's just say I went through hell to be living in heaven. Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-cha-cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now. Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-cha-cha-ching, ching.
Boom, boom.
Cha-ching, ching.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now.
You guys can imagine
Finger up. Come on, let us sing now.
how loud my house gets when I play this song. I got it bumping.
Make money, middle finger up. Come on, let us sing now.
Thanks, Daddy.
Oh, you're welcome, baby. Welcome back. That's the best 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That's all I got. That's all I got right there. Welcome back. Welcome back to Hosco. If you guys haven't seen it, BeTheHos.com. Check them out, guys. The hat is from Hosco.com. Well, it's BeTheHos.com, but it's from Hosco. That's what it is. These are some sick-ass hats, guys. If you don't know about this company, they actually support GameStop. The whole damn ecosystem. These dudes support GameStop. Every dollar you put into this company, they in turn go and invest all those same dollars. Go ahead and put in the discount code GameStop and get something back for you. This is not sponsored by them. They don't pay me for this. I just support cats that support GameStop. Remember that. The Hosco. Get it right. So, anyway, guys, back to you and back to the stock. GameStop, $27.03 today. Now, this is the weekly chart. As you can see, this 50-day moving average, we broke below. Okay, that's the cross of death there. As we broke below, that's when everybody saw the stock was going to start going down all the way down to $9. Now, we broke back up, But now that we're breaking up and we're keeping this average up, we're holding it, okay? We're holding it. Eventually, this purple line is going to curve past the 100-day moving average up here, the 200-day moving average. We're going to blow past it. When we blow past it is all she wrote. The fact that we're at $27 right now tells you this is our new takeoff land. We're holding support. We're holding that line. On the daily chart itself, you're already crossed over to the plus side. Stock looks great over the last, 7 months. And then look at this, running parallel. Ooh, like a bunch of thoroughbreds going down that track. You can't stop GameStop. That look at this orange line here. You guys ask me, where's the support, Marantz? You're not getting it below 21. You're not getting below anywhere near 21. And the reason why you won't get this stock below $21 is because GameStop diluted their float 140 million shares for more money than that. They added $4 billion to the bottom line, and that increases your book value. Hey, all of you out there that don't understand book value versus tangible book value is exactly what GameStop has. And it's not just about the book. It's actually what's the story in the book, okay? There's plenty of companies out there that trade below book or 10x above book, but what is the context of the book? Who wrote the story? Who's still writing the story? And what do the chapters have? Right now, the chapters of GameStop tell you, one, Ryan Cohen is here. If you're not familiar with Ryan Cohen, he is a 39-year-old, maybe 40 by now, billionaire from Canada that supports this administration, that supports this investment, and he puts his money where his mouth is. He's building it brick by brick. He's the largest independent shareholder of Apple shares. He's a great investor. He owns Alibaba, he owns GameStop, and he's done everything the right way. You know why he's done it the right way? Because he put his own money into it. He is not paid $1, not one share of commission, not $1 of fees at all. And he's the CEO and chairman of the board. He works for free. Tonight, we're going to watch a video that I have not watched. There's no way I could watch it. I've been at work, got off of work, picked my son from school, came here, and now I'm in front of you. But it was sent to me, and it's an interview of Nat Turner talking about the connection through GameStop, whatever PSA is doing. I haven't seen it, but I want to watch it. And I'm going to watch it with you. But if you're invested with GameStop and you're invested with Ryan Cohen, then you know exactly what we're talking about. Let's go check the scene, if you know what I mean. Let's go see what we got. First, graded trading cards right here at GameStop, guys. Website's awesome. I'm going to tell you something that I learned about this buy and sell graded cards. Get your cards graded. Oh, they put it on one tab. That's so cool. I'll take it. Something I learned about this. You guys remember that idiot who was typing to the whole crowd saying, they lost my cards. I can't find them. I'm going to tell you guys something. I have a card out there that's lost. I sent it in, and according to the website, it's gone. It's my Brock Bowers rookie card. And I was like, wait a minute, it's not being processed? And I'm going to show you guys something, okay? So I had to go in, and I said, okay, guys, you guys already sent off my Shohei Ohtani die-cut card that I have. But you guys sent off my other card, and I'm trying to find out, like, what's going on here. So let me give you this example, okay? View all orders. I want to make sure you guys can see it. Okay. So right here, it's not gone, okay? I want to say that just so you guys are aware. The guy who was like, man, what happened? All right, so here's all the stuff that I bought recently. I have a card I sent out on the 13th, and it says order created, okay? I sent out another card that said order shipped. I bought a card, it already got delivered. That's my my girl, Caitlin Clark, rookie card. And then I got another order shipped on TGC Bulk. I sent out the Pokemon cards, the ones I cracked open, and they got money for them, right? So I did all that. I did that on the 4th. I did that yesterday. So it got shipped out. It already says shipped out, right? Order shipped, right? But this one down here says order created. It does not say whether or not, like, what happened, right? It doesn't say that it's available to you. And I was like, man, what the hell's going on? Where's my card? But, you know, I don't get upset like that. I'm not like mean about it. I'm none of that. I just deal with it. And I walk in and I said, hey, guys, can you guys explain something to me? Like, what's going on with my card? Because I saw online some guy said he lost his cards. And, it's one Brock Bowers rookie card on the red. Like, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter one bit to me. If they lost it, even if they lost it, I wouldn't even be mad. I'd just be like, oh, it's part of, it's holiday shopping. There's FedEx issues. It's Black Friday. Everything's in front of you, right? But I want to know why this card didn't get shipped out. And she said, no, it did get shipped out. There was a software issue where it wasn't registering the cards and the tracking. It wasn't linking. There was a bug. We fixed it. But unfortunately, the first week of cards, some people show that their stuff wasn't sent out. She goes, I assure you it was sent out. And I believe her 100%. I also believe that they had a mix-up in the software, which is not an issue. I mean, it happens. You fix it, and you go from there. So now, as you can see, I have 3 cards out for grading. 2 I can track, 1 I can't. I'm not worried about it. It'll get back to me. But I need an explanation, and they gave me one. They just said, listen, we really had an issue with tracking the cards. But the system, which this is a new system, has flaws, or it had flaws at the time. But GameStop went out and they fixed them, and that's what you're dealing with. So I hope a lot of people understand that. Like, not everybody's perfect. It's not a perfect system, the first day in, first day out type style. So I'm just speaking on it because it can happen. Marantz, what do you think the GME targets will be? Economist, whoever, is predicting a few targets, and he's been spot on in the past. He also predicts a massive crash, which will launch low cap. Yeah. Avron Corp. Okay. What do I think the value of GameStop is, and where do I think it's going? This was actually a very entertaining stream, Marantz. You had me cracking up. Good video. Okay. I don't know what the hell. Are we talking about an old one? Or are we talking about this one? I never know. Okay. All right. So here's the best part. Okay. Where do I see GameStop going? I see GameStop going to infinity and beyond, honestly. And it's not that it's called, this MOAS. That's not what I see. I just see fundamentally this company that people want to invest in. It has the prospects of being bigger than what people can believe. I think even people like Nat Turner, who didn't understand just how big GameStop can be, and then he got invited into the inner circle, and he's like, okay, now I get it. These guys are committed. And it's not just the insiders. It's not just the board of directors. It's also the shoppers. We have an allegiance to this company. So the influx, I don't even think PSA could handle the cards that were coming in. I showed everybody PSA's up like 22% on cards being graded this year, and they're monsters. 800-something thousand cards already graded, and they're beating everybody on the market share of that. So GameStop partnered up with the #1 company. GameStop is a card store. And when people start finding out that GameStop's a card store, I walked into my GameStop last night and they had no cards. And you would say, well, wait a minute, Marantz, you just said they're a card store. No, you don't understand. All they had was soccer and race cars. They sold out of everything. They sell out of everything the minute it comes in. People know. These guys in the hobby of buying cards know exactly what they're looking for, and they're going to get it anywhere they can. And it's an addiction. It's like smack, right? But if you can find it somewhere, you're going to find it. And that's exactly what's happening. And GameStop's playing into it, full circle, full throttle. So price points. I think that I'm going to like GameStop at $500 a share. I'm going to like GameStop at a dividend. I'm going to like GameStop at another stock split. I'm going to like GameStop in the S&P 500. I'm going to like it when we're all millionaires. Those are my price points. And yes, I think a correction on the market's going to happen. And I think it will benefit GameStop because GameStop has $5 billion. And they can buy controlling stakes in companies, and it's going to work out really well. Okay, bottom at 9, move to 70. Guess how much 27 bottom will move to? That's a good point. That's my point. Every damn day. Back in fall of 2020, Lionheart first edition Charizard was lost in mail from PSA for months. Well, there you go. I joined the Discord, bro. Thank you, Noro. Appreciate it. But I left because everyone was being rude as F. Don't worry, Neuro. You gotta find some thick skin to hang out with the crew like us. You gotta understand something. You're brand new, and we are not sit on the fence type of dudes. We're not, and even girls and guys, we're not opening and welcome arms. And this is not the crew for you. If you are faint of heart, if you are weak, if you have zero conviction, if you can't stand on your own, if you can't put 10 toes deep down on the ground, Deion Sanders, you might want to run away. That's just it. But I'm not going to walk you to it. I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not going to hold your hand. There's some real love out here. if you know how to take it and accept it. But there's grown men and women in that Discord. There's not 20-year-olds bragging about buying some options and how they go into school right now and how they're trading better than the professor. That's not what we're doing here. We're out here paying taxes, taking care of our families, and doing the best we can. That's the channel, and that's the Discord. Discord's 1,300 members deep, and it's completely free, and it always will be. Shot. You're live. Yeah. We're alphas here, bro. Buy betas. Correct. You got to be an alpha. If you're not an alpha, if you came in beta style, it's not going to work. Most own a cat to be in the Discord. Must own a cat to be in the Discord. Pretty much. Hey, Brian, they're after you, bro. I saw GME Meltdown clipping your comments in the Discord, bro. They like you. All right, let's go get it. Here we go. So, GameStop trading cards right now, guys. As we look at it, there's some cards there, some new ones. I see Aaron Judge rookie card. Not bad for $53. Dude only had 53 strikeouts in the final series. Good job. CJ Stroud, what a bust and a bucket he is. Trash. Jordan Love, overrated, overpaid. CJ Stroud again, get out of here. Don't care. You know, there's one thing about football players that are always seems to make, like they end up running out of steam. Like they're good for like a couple of games and bam. 3,500 cards for sale, guys. 3,526. That's a healthy inventory as of now. Let's see what it is a year from now. Okay. Here is the stock itself. It's at 27.03 today when it closed out, down 41 cents. After hours, $26.95. It has a market cap of over $12 billion. Here is your boy. Here's my position, guys. Am I green? You better believe I am. Over $2,000 green, looking good. Almost around $25,000 worth of the stock. I'm doing okay. You know, 25 grand's a lot of money to me. I don't know about you, but here we go.
What is going on, YouTube people? Your Crazy Comics here. Today, we got a special one. Buckle up. It is a long one. I got an opportunity to sit down and chat with Nat Turner, CEO of Collectors Universe. We hit on a myriad of topics, from declared value to card cleaning to PSA offers and where that could potentially go, and a bunch of other stuff. Buckle up. Like I said, it's a long one. So sit back, relax, take it in chunks. It's just me and Nat talking on the screen, so you don't have to necessarily watch. You could just listen. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the chat with Nat Turner.
I'm going to play this at a little bit faster speed.
Pleasure of being joined by Nat Turner, CEO of Collectors Universe. I think I've gotten more requests to interview you in the comment sections than maybe any other guests that I've had on. So I know it's a busy time of year, so thanks for taking some time to join us today.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Great to be here.
So I kind of wanted to start here. You and your team came in early 2021. I think it was end of February of 2021.
February
8th. A massive just backlog of cards. When you first walked in and looked around, were you just like, what have we gotten ourselves into? Or like, how do we even attack this animal?
Yeah, we didn't know a lot. It was February 8th. I flew out to California. I live in New York. I flew out there that week. Forget what day of the week the closing was. But because it was a public company, we didn't have a lot of insight into non-public information. So like we knew that they were getting more cards than they could handle. We didn't know. I knew as a customer because the turnaround times were creeping up pretty quickly. And when we got here, I remember it was like it took 2 minutes to figure out the problem. So they were able to process. We were able to process 22,000 cards a day at the time.
Wow.
And that was the capacity in one office here in California. And if you averaged the daily, we called it demand, but not all of those cards showed up because the people would type them into the online submission center and some percentage of them would actually get shipped and show up. The demand on the front end was 99,000 cards a day. And they didn't have that reporting actually. So they only knew their reporting was lagging. It was how many packages and cards were showing up in the office. We call that received. The problem is people ship and then the boxes are open and then people count them. And so it takes like a week or two. At the time, it was like a month. And so they didn't realize that it was 99,000 a day. They thought it was like 30 or 40,000 a day because it was lagging so much. And so we stood up reporting from the online submission center that day. And we were like, we're just curious how many people are typing in cards, how many cards per day on the submission center, and it was 99,000 a day on average. So by the way, that's higher than it even is today by a significant percentage. On some days we exceed that, but on average it was 99,000 a day. And I'll never forget the day before we suspended service on a Monday. It leaked. Some of our former employees leaked to some of their dealer buddies that the online submission center was going to be closed come Monday. On Saturday, we got 460,000 cards get submitted.
I assume that's the present day record.
Oh yeah, by far.
I remember
That was the problem.
Yeah, it's funny because I've had the YouTube channel since 2020, and I could do like an easy search on my back end and kind of look at like all the PSA videos I've done, and I sorted it in reverse order, and I had the one of like your group taking over, and then I think like a week later at the very beginning of March, you guys raised prices. That leaked out.
Yeah, that was an attempt to slow things down.
Yeah, but I remember that leaked out, and I remember doing a video like 3 days before saying like, I'm pretty sure PSA prices are going to be going up pretty quickly. And I think you guys that's when like the post office was what are you guys doing?
Yeah, so we had there's a few funny anecdotes there. So we had like, when we showed up, it wasn't super clear because like I said, the cards, the avalanche, we called it an app. That was like literally our term for it. We like publicly and everything. The avalanche hadn't really, like it was trembling. And then, a week or two later, the U.S. Postal Service in Orange County called us and they're like, hey, we can't manifest these packages. You have to come pick them up. So we like rented school buses with security guards to go to the post office. I mean, it was thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of packages a day. I mean, we get thousands today, but this was like 10x that for like a month. And we had to like, rent storage units to temporarily store packages. It took us months just to open the mail. Like we didn't even know, because now we're much more sophisticated. Like we know what's coming, tracking numbers. Like you can print shipping labels from our online submission center, and like we can track them through FedEx and like all this cool stuff. Back then we had barcodes, on the exterior of the package. Like none of that existed. And so it was just like, we don't know what's going to come today. We kind of knew from the online submission center, but like I said, it was never perfect. There's a lot of leakage. And so, yeah, it was wild. But the other anecdote I remember was we showed up here and they had, in a panic and great decision, they had rented it was like a nursing school or something next door. And they literally hired like a construction company to knock the wall down in like a panic move just to like be able to store boxes in this new office across the hallway. And but by the way, it was a football field. It was like 100,000 square feet. I don't think it was actually 100,000. It was like 50,000 square feet of space just to temporarily store mail. But yeah, the backlog got up to 13 million cards. We shut down on a Monday, but the cards kept coming. Because if you got your submission form in before it shut down, you could keep mailing it for 30 days, and so it kept coming, and the avalanche really started, and it got worse. And like I said, it started. People found out that we were closing, so it actually ramped even higher because it leaked.
Just so we're clear, this is Nat Turner on the right-hand side. He's a collector of all things. He's from California. He's in California, actually. And he's the CEO and chairman of the board of Universal Collectors, Universal Universe, whatever, Collectors Universe. And he's also on the board of directors for GameStop now. So we'll get into all of this. I'm playing at a little bit faster speed, 1.25. And he's talking to Neo Cards and Comics. So shout out to these guys for putting this interview together. And this interview was released 11 hours ago. Only 2,000 views? Only 2,000 for a GameStop's board of director? You're crazy. Let's go.
So yeah, it was such a bad. It was a great problem, but it was still a huge problem because we all of a sudden had to tell people, like, you just did the math. 13 million cards divided by 22,000 times 5 business days. You could do the math. It was like, I forget the exact number, but it was well over a year. And so we just went laser focused on growing the grading capacity. So
was the decision to shut down, was that like one of those things where it's the easiest decision to make, but also like, oh my God, we're
it was out of necessity. I was very worried. It was my call. Like, I was not CEO yet. Joe Orlando was still running it. And, he was very nervous about it, as was I, but it was unfortunately it was an important decision. So that's why it came up to me as the chairman at the time. But, I was worried. Joe was very worried. He knows our customers at the time better, probably even still to some degree. And, he thought there was going to be a lot of blowback, as did I. But actually what happened, much to our surprise, is most people were like, thank God, like this, I want my cards back. And if you didn't close down, I wasn't going to get my cards back. So there was a lot of support for that decision. There were also a lot of angry people that were, I think, depending on submitting cards for their business. And, we felt sorry to have to do it, but we truly didn't have another option. So.
Yeah, and I have to imagine part of that too. Like if you guys, as much as that probably sucked, like I'm sure going through that probably really helped kind of position where you guys are at today.
Oh yeah,
infrastructure and tech and like the things that you had to do to get through that as quickly as
Oh
possible.
yeah. I mean, look, when we do specials, occasionally we do big specials and, submissions will spike and, the culture here is like, we got this. Like, like we've been through way worse, I mean, we don't love, we hate disappointing people by things taking longer, but we've been hardened by, 2021. We've seen the avalanche before, but we're much more resilient now. Our grading team is 4 times bigger. Our capacity is 3 to 3.5 times bigger.
So that means they can do 70 to 80,000 cards a day. That's what they're telling you by the capacity is bigger.
Every facet of the company, it's like a snake. To digest a meal, it has to go step by step. Grading is one of 12 steps. So you have to have, box opening, receiving, imaging, research, grading, verification 1, verification 2, so on, results, shipping. Like there's a lot of steps, and every step has to keep up with each other. You can't have the meal pass through the, the snake, if you want. It's probably a weird analogy, but that's the best one I can think of. And, if you have, too big of a receiving backlog, then, the imaging team gets choked, and then grading slows down, then sealing. I forgot sealing. That's a huge step too. So there's just every step has to keep up with each other, and COVID forced us to grow up really, 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 really fast. We brought in some awesome people, operations experts, who salivated at this opportunity to have this sort of scale, but have that little infrastructure. And it was exciting for them to kind of have like a startup, but with, millions of units to mess with.
Yeah. When I just imagine, I don't know, maybe that's not the case. Like, was there just like a big countdown clock on the wall of like how many items are left in the backlog? Was there like a pizza part? Like what happened when you guys finally cleared it? Was there like just a little mini fist bump at their desk?
It was pretty anticlimactic because we did open again before those cards technically were completed.
Because you guys were doing like a lottery system thing.
We did the lottery thing first, but then we gradually opened. Like we opened higher service levels and we kind of worked our way down. Because not every grader does every card, right? So like they're specialists, and so like our high end graders, we could open, for like high end vintage, we could technically open them up, and because the bulk of the cards in the Avalanche were ultra modern, like 2018, 2019 Prism and Pokemon. Like that was, if you look back at it, that was 60+% probably. But yeah, it was fun to. I don't want to go through it again.
I don't think any of us want to go through the pandemic craziness of just general life ever again. So
no.
You said talk about the stock, right? Is that what you said? Why are we talking about cards and not the stock? Hey, listen up. This is your company. This is the stock. This is the transition. You want answers. You want info. You have to sit through interviews, videos, pub pieces. Where else are you going to understand what this company's doing? This is their partner. You need to know what their partners are doing. That's why we watch Lucky Palmer videos. That's why we want to know what's going on with all these gaming companies and gaming studios. This is your investment. If you don't want to do the due diligence and you just want a free ride, then go the hell on. But I promise you, I'm out here doing this shit for you. Cut the video, don't show it. And I'll just watch it myself, and I'll keep all the info to myself. I'll do that.
Not at all.
So I mean, you guys got through that, and you kind of positioned yourself today. And one of the things that I've noticed over the last, and I've done plenty of videos about this, like you guys have, whether it was intentional or not, you guys have positioned yourself now through all that nonsense and all the things that you've done over the last few years. You guys have kind of really set yourself up as kind of needed by everybody, to lack of a better term. Was that the plan way back then, or was that something that just kind of like, okay, we got through this, we're continuing to gain more market share, how do we kind of spread throughout the hobby, for lack of a better term?
I don't think that was like that's been PSA's and PCGS's I think approach, to be agnostic to just be a tools provider, to picks and shovels rating agency, basically, to be the in between neutral third party between, at the time dealers and collectors, and now, all sorts of different companies, auction houses, et cetera. And our business development corporate team deserves a lot of credit. Like, a year or two in, I think we started to realize, there's a lot of new enterprise style companies. Like cards is not this, like when I grew up in cards, I'm sure you too, it's like, the local card shops and maybe some retail outlets. Like that was kind of it. And then eBay, of course. But now all of a sudden you had live streaming, you had repacking, you had tons of new auction houses, you had like real innovation was happening. ComC was much bigger. And so we had these partnerships that were developed. Fanatics wasn't, like these are like real big developments. And so we started building these partnerships. And that was a intentional thing, like basically no exclusivity, build APIs that people can tap into. So for example, with Whatnot, if you're a breaker and one of your customers hits a huge card, have that card come directly to us for grading. So it doesn't have to be shipped unnecessarily. Like if the person wants it to be graded by us anyway, great. But if there's multiple shipping legs in between, let's cut those out. And all right, great. Let's do that with Loop as well. Let's do that with Fanatics Live. Let's do that with whoever else. That's kind of the approach. We had I would argue a misstep, doing an integration only with Golden for selling through our vault for a time, and we corrected that. Most people, I love Golden, but if you polled our customers at PSA, they wanted to sell on eBay, not Golden. High-end customers wanted to sell on Golden, but 99% of the cards we grade are not considered, high-end. So, we corrected that mistake. I wouldn't, mistake, but whatever you want to call it, we improved the experience. But that's one. We went back to kind of a more neutral place there. But yeah, I'd say since PSA was founded in the early '90s, it's been the neutral third party. Be accessible to everybody.
Yeah, you guys definitely feel like the Switzerland of you're so the market share that you have. Like even if someone is kind of a competitor to you on like some of the side, like you guys have a vaulting service now, like Fanatics has a vaulting service, but even though they still want to partner with you because they kind of they need that offering to their customer.
You can vault with them. We don't we don't care at all.
I that's impressive that you guys are kind of able to weave your way into all those different areas and have those companies still circle back to be like, yeah, we still need to partner with them, even though they might be a little bit of competition.
The way we approach it, we're maniacally focused on one thing, and that is our grading expertise, reputation. And we're in the opinion business. Our opinion needs to be trusted, and the premium that people apply to that reputation needs to be justified.
And if you heard what he said that they're doing the business based off of APIs, and an API is programming interface, right? So they actually are making all of these different. It's an application programming interface. So they're making all these different applications, like their synergy. So synergy from one app to the next, they can, like I'll give you this example. You buy a TV today, they all have Netflix, right? You hit one button, there's a Netflix button on every damn device that you see. Like that is an API, right? So when you look at PSA, and you go to these websites, like you go to eBay, you get your card graded, you can literally have the app to tell you, let's put it for sale right now on eBay before they ever send it back to you. And this is how you integrate those APIs. So they're doing it. The business development team for PSA is phenomenal. For them to go from, and he's right, it has changed from Whatnot and from repackaging and from breaking and from TikTok packs and from whatever. Everybody's doing it. Everyone's out there. It's massive. Well, guess what? Now you have this intermediate grading brick and mortar front that put itself in the thick of it all. In the number one growing sector of hobbyists and collectors, cards, again, because remember, it's based off of us. You guys don't believe it? Think about this. We all grew up doing cards. We all grew up with Pokemon. We all grew up with video games. But now we are the consumer. We are the consumer dollar. It's not the baby boomers. It's not those. Those guys are all retiring. They're going to old folks' homes. They're going vacation and cruises. We are the consumer. We're buying things for our kids and our grandkids. And it just so happens it's the things that we used to do, card collecting. So yes, the API development, that's phenomenal for these guys. They're just integrating everything. But GameStop stuck their big ass in the middle of it all, and I like it.
That's all. That's, yeah, we're doing all these things like eBay and vaulting, blah, blah, blah. Yes, great. But, 90 plus, if you look at where our resources go internally, I mentioned this earlier, our grading team has grown more than our capacity has grown. The reason is we've asked our graders to be more specialized, don't grade as fast. We grade the item more times and, we have way more content. If a certain card has a known history of fakes, we have images, we have automated AI to detect fake serial numbers. We've got all this stuff that slows us down, but makes our reputation stronger. And I think that's what's happening. Is the companies, that have raw cards in their possession, customers want the best opinion. And so we're focused on that more than anything.
You kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier, and we'll talk about some of the specific things, but it feels like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like your guys' theme for a lot of this year was reducing friction and adding liquidity. Like across, you guys have done various different things to kind of both those. Is that the case? Like, are you guys kind of leaning into this, like, let's make grading as accessible as possible to as many people as possible?
If you look at our resources, it's actually a super minority of our resources have gone to the liquidity stuff. Most of our resources are going to core PSA work, which is, improving the infrastructure of PSA to scale it here and internationally while maintaining or improving quality and consistency. It's hard to see that, like, we don't publish our roadmap, but like, just to be clear, like the stuff that has come out, like which I'm super proud of and happy about as a customer, but also as CEO, is the eBay stuff, instant offers, which we can talk about if you want, like all these, the vault, like, our team is awesome. Like we've finally gotten past this tech debt life we were living for 2 or 3 years with this, like, decaying infrastructure that was breaking every day, so where we can actually launch things with pretty small teams. And like, for example, the offers thing that came out recently, which I'm super excited about, was 2 engineers. It's just a giant thing. I think it could be huge for customers. And it was, 2 engineers and a half of a product manager working on it. So whereas, we have like 10 machine learning AI specialists helping us make grading better. But it's more public, the eBay stuff. But yeah, we do, to answer your question, our customers told us pretty loudly last year that, great, you have this vault, but what we really care about is liquidity. And okay, I care about eBay. And so we went head first into developing a strong partnership with eBay, which we're very happy with, and our customers are too, as evidenced by the number of listings and so forth. And we want to keep pushing that further. People, not everybody, but a lot of people who submit cards to PSA are doing so because they intend to sell the card. And so, there are people like me, I'm sure you too, that like submit, like these cards on my desk, like I have no intention of selling these. But, like I said, like 60+% of the people who submit cards are doing so because they're going to flip them. And so they've asked us for help in doing so. All those shipping legs, it adds cost and time. When a new rookie hits or a new release hits, they want that thing on eBay as quickly as possible. So we tried to answer that call this year. That was one of our efforts. And we've got some other cool things in the works to help that. Like, for example, Buy It Now launches today.
So if you guys remember, I asked a question when I went to the first Front Row Card Show in Vegas at the Rio. I was going around from table to table asking questions. Why do you trade raw cards, ungraded cards, versus graded cards? And what they were saying was, when the newest rookie hits, like Caitlin Clark, right? Like, she comes out with her rookie card, it's autographed, whatever you just hit this year, and you want to sell it, you want to flip it, you want to get some money for it, it's valuable. You don't have time to send it out to PSA, get it graded, and get back to you. That's 45 days of lost time when people are putting it up for sale today, right now. So what they're saying is they've mainstreamed the way, they've gotten it faster turnaround for those actions, right? For the higher graded cards, the more valuable cards that come through, and sure enough, these cards are flipping. I've seen them go 2 weeks, a week and a half. People want them graded. People want them now. But for those guys that I was interviewing, they say, nah, man, we just put them in, in a top loader, and we throw them in the case, and it moves. And people are trying to get them. So for the guys that want to get them graded, go for it. But like for me, I'm chill.
30%. Yeah, so 30% of the users in the vault are going to get. It's going to take about a week to launch. We do a slow roll to make sure, bugs and so forth. But yeah, 30% of the vault users are going to get access to BIN. Buy It Now listing capability today. And then offers will follow after that. BIN will just be fixed price. Like, here's, take it or leave it. And then we'll launch offers, and we'll launch counter offers. So we've got a roadmap of, and then the offers thing through PSA. So we've got a whole roadmap of liquidity.
You see what they're saying? They're going to offer everyone that has cards in the vault. Right now, there is wholesale cards. They're all in the vault right now. They're all graded. They get to hold them there with PSA, and they want to sell them, right? You go to eBay, you wait for bidding, you get them priced, whatever the highest bid, whatever it may be. GameStop, and I believe this, is one of the buyers, is one of the wholesale buyers of cards, and they're offering flat pricing for cards. And I know it's probably 50% of what they're actually worth, but hey, if you have cards and they're graded and you want something now and you need money now, they're willing to buy it now. Just like I saw what happened with the Odessa Automotives and Carvana, where they actually auctioned off lots and cars, and they wanted the cars now. Now they're able to upsell them for $7,000 a card. The profit margins are massive, and it hits the bottom line. GameStop's profit margin is about to be massive with this launching today. As he said, it's launching today. So you can imagine what GameStop's inventory is going to look like in a couple of weeks, couple of months from now, when they've been doing this program and people start selling cards to them and they're buying them wholesale. It's going to happen.
Stuff that is just trying to help the majority of people who want to sell do so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have instant access to basically all that inventory to kind of leverage that to both the eBay side and also the PSA offer side, because even the cards are already sitting there in-house with you guys.
Yeah.
Why not find a way to kind of bridge that gap between end user and submitter?
Yeah, they're not our cards. It's a fire hose of cards every day, and all we're trying to do is give people opportunities. And opportunity to auction, opportunity to list for bin, opportunity to sell right now for some percentage off of card ladder, whatever. And they're taking they're completely optional. You can have the card shipped back to you. You can have it shipped to whichever vault you want, including ours. You can come pick it up. You can whatever you want. It doesn't it doesn't really matter. I mean, we want the functionality, the optionality for everybody. So
yeah, you mentioned PSA offers, and when that popped up, I don't know, was that maybe a week ago, I think, or so, that you guys formally announced it. When I saw that I was kind of with you. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but my mind was immediately like running 100 different places on kind of like what it could be, what it could turn into.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically essentially your partner network, which is, I assume, probably people that you work with right now already for like massive bulk submitters, shops.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Does that, do we ever get to the point where I can submit offers on a card? Is that, because that was the first place I went was, I can create my own essentially bounty list or like a red flag. I don't know how it would work of, someone graded a card that you're looking for. Do you want to submit an offer? Or maybe you preset up a number, however the back end works, but just basically something to say, a card that you were looking for is now available. It exists on the market. Here it is.
Yeah, no, that's the vision. Our vision is this actually started as a hackathon project here, where the simple question was, if you have a grading order and there's 20 cards in it, and the person wants to sell 20 cards, there's someone out there who wants to buy maybe one or two, 20 different people want to buy each of those cards. Can you just quickly, without shipping, cash is delivered to your Cash App, instantly? That was it. I mean, that was the vision. And, it's Pandora's box when you think about that. I think you've already gone down that rabbit hole. And it started with, okay, let's just, who buys the most cards? All right. So there's dealers, repackers, there's people, so we started there just because it's easy. We don't have to work with 1,000 people. And we again, they're options. They're, these, right now it's limited to people with vault, with our vault, but it's not available to the grading orders, which was the original hackathon project, but it will be, hopefully soon available to grading orders. And we have this network of dealers, small, like fewer than 10, and, show offers. PSA is not buying the card. We're facilitating the transaction, and we just if you accept the offer, we pluck the card out of the vault or the soon to be your grading order. We throw it in a big box and ship them in bulk to whichever dealer, the match was made. The vision, of course, is to have a self-service tool where, I'll give you just one example. So the card I want most in life is the John Stockton 97/98 Precious Metal Gems Green. Okay. This card does not pop up very often, but the cool part about PSA is that card, when it's submitted, we know it's submitted. We don't know the grade, potentially for weeks, depending on the service level. But you can imagine I could set up a alert and I could be alerted. You're not, no privacy, it's nothing like, no names, no, nothing. But, I could have a wish list that says, hey, I want this John Stockton card. Also, by the way, Christian Laettner and Robert Pack from the same set. Type in those cards. I could get an alert that says, hey, good news. A Robert Pack PMG Green has been submitted, or John Stockton has hit the PSA receiving line. Hasn't been graded. You don't know the grade, but we don't, could be 3 weeks, could be 1 day. Put in an offer and we'll show it to the owner when that offer by grade. If it gets a 9, I'll pay this. If it's an 8, I'll pay that. And, you set up a payment type, whatever, or maybe there's a credit limit, and then the grade pops, and maybe the, submitters can opt out. Maybe they don't want, anyone to know that this card was submitted, we'll turn that off, or they don't want to ever see offers, which is fair. But if it's all, if everyone's opted in, that offer would show up. You get your grade reveal, on your phone, the submitter, one card popped today. You have an instant offer for X dollars. You click accept. 5 seconds later, you get a push notification that money's hit your account. And that's the vision. And I think for true collectors, it's going to be really cool. Because, I'm desperately searching for, say, 30 or 40 cards. I would definitely go in there.
So it's pretty awesome. They're talking about making it more practical, user-friendly. The experience is going to be just that. And it's almost like buying stock. No one ever envisioned Robinhood and Webull being so colorful and easy of use. The ease of use is awesome, right? You can just pick and choose and come in and out of stocks and do everything, and you slip your thumb and you might just buy everything. This sounds like the best of all worlds if they can do it, from a technical standpoint. The idea is there; it has merit, and it would certainly increase the amount of transactions that would happen. So, yeah, I mean, this is great. This is great for PSA, and whatever's good for PSA is good for GameStop. Here we go.
And, maniacally make sure that list of cards is turned on and accurate and up to date, so that in that fire hose of cards that, PSA, 60,000 cards every day, if one of those needles in the haystack shows up, 60,000 chances a day, I want that. I want to know, and I want to buy that. I want at least an offer to be put in front of the submitter. So that's the vision.
Yeah, I mean that's a win for every. I don't know who the loser is in that situation, because the submitter gets the option for instant cash.
Yeah, you can turn it down.
Yeah, or maybe they just want the card shipped home.
Right.
Then on the flip side, the collector, the flipper, whatever it is that wants the card has, a 60,000 card influx every day of potential possibilities that it could be.
We kind of look at it as a card show every day. Like if you go to the National, there's probably 50,000 displayed created cards, I would guess. I mean, basically every day there's a National in our office. And not every card's for sale with a price tag on it, but we know a lot of those cards are for sale, or will be. We see them on eBay, we see them everywhere. And so, we know they're out there. So
would there be some, because I can see this being a concern, especially on, maybe not so much like high grade ultra modern, but like on lower or mid grade vintage or something like that, like not being able to see the card. Would there be a way to potentially see the card before you formally submit the offer? Because not all PSA 3s are equal.
Like see an image or get it physically in your hand.
See an image, like to know, like my Jim Brown. Like I have two Jim Browns. One's really off centered. One's kind of off centered. They're both
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Yeah. So the question is, when you're typing in that offer, do you do it ahead of time by grade, or do you wait and see the final view image? Yeah, I mean that's a great point. We could totally do that. You could basically say, I only want to make an offer, once you see an image. We haven't contemplated that at a cert level. Seeing an image, we could probably figure out how to do that. But this is the thing; it's Pandora's box. Like you go down the rabbit hole. It's like it's pretty exciting. We have some other ideas there. I'll hold back on, but there's some really cool things you can do.
And I think I have to imagine set registry people would probably if
that's
ever integration in set registry, that just seems like a gold mine for those guys and girls.
That's where this started. Yeah. So the original vision was the matchmaking would be set registry members who have missing lines in their set. So those 20 cards I mentioned, 3 of them happen to be, missing cards for my set. I need 9s. Great. Boom, let's make an offer. Anyway, that's set registry. It's got a lot of cool, but right now it's only available to the vault. We have I think we have 500 or 600,000 cards in our vault right now. So and it grows, significantly every week. And so but it's still small, every 7 days we grade more cards that are in our vault. So, the vault is cool for a swimming, a fishing pond for the offers, but, grading is where really that fire hose is. So, that's I think a lot of people, when the announcement came out, they were like, well, I don't have cards in the vault, or the cards I have in the vault didn't have any offer. They're kind of disappointed that they didn't have an offer to look at. And that'll change once we actually expand the program to, to grading, have more buyers. And
yeah. When the announcement came out, I almost kind of blew past it needs to be in the vault and this and that, because I wasn't concerned about what it is today. Like I said, I immediately went to the possibilities are almost endless on this thing.
Yeah, it's so fun. Yeah. Well, I have this vision that how cool would it be if you could submit an order to PSA and technically get paid to do so. So imagine if you send 10 cards in and your instant offer is total to be greater than the grading fees of those 10 cards. I mean, we could have customers that they don't effectively it nets out where they don't even pay us. We're paying them. That's really cool.
If you had a public, essentially a public bounty board that's basically I am looking for whatever card from whatever set, a green PMG, but maybe not something necessarily that rare, but I'm looking for a.
What's crazy about public bounty boards and stuff like that is GameStop's buying cards, right? And someone came in, just to give you an example, someone came in, and I'm going to show it to you right now, and we go to trading cards, and we're going to go to sports, and we're going to baseball, okay? And someone came in with every Ricky Henderson card you could ever want. Look at this. One right here, another one, 86 Donruss, 86 Donruss, 88, 86, 81, 81, all Ricky Henderson. This is all Ricky Henderson. 82, 82, 82, 84, 85, 84 again. Tim Raines, Ricky Henderson. Somebody came in with the whole Ricky Henderson collection and PSA 8, 9, and 10s. Right? I mean, they got them all, guys. So if you're looking for a Ricky Henderson card out there, these are good buys for GameStop. People don't know this part, but if you're a fan and you're looking for him, you know where to find him. He's over here. I assume over time, GameStop's going to have a card of everyone because someone's going to submit them all over time. You're eventually going to have a catalog for Kobe, for Caitlin, for Jordan, for Victor Wemby. All these categories. Right now, Ricky Henderson came in deep. So who knows? But I know where you can get them. And that's pretty cool. So as far as how these guys submit. But, GameStop, 3,500 cards versus, these guys are doing hundreds of thousands of cards, in a year. So it's pretty awesome.
High grade card from 77 tops of like these 3 obscure players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's out there. And like me is just a guy sitting at home. Wait, I have some of those laying around. This looks pretty clean. Maybe
There
this
you go. It keeps going. Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah. But the idea of just in general of you could in theory have a customer who had no idea this offer thing even existed, but they get their grades, they accept all the offers, and then their invoice happens to be zeroed out, and in fact they get a deposit. It's kind of cool. I mean, that's like, for a true collector, it's maybe not that cool because you want to have the cards in your house, but for someone who's flipping, it doesn't get much better than that. So
I think everyone's got a little bit of both in them these days. I mean, I'm sure there are still some tried and true. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone's got a little bit of fun, use the hobby to fund the hobby type mentality, or at least a large majority of people, it seems like, has that kind of.
We have a lot to figure out. Like, we're basing this all on card ladder value, which we believe is the best, comp to use for these cards. But card ladder is amazing. It has some deficiencies on cards that don't have a direct sales comp. There won't be a price, therefore we won't be able to make an offer. So there's some, we've got a bunch of quirks to figure out. But we'll get there.
Yeah. Does PSA offers in like this backend? It almost sounds like it could just eventually morph into like a PSA marketplace. Is that something that could potentially be on the table, or?
I don't think so. So eBay's our partner. We love the audience and option, for liquidity and general auctions and buy it now that eBay provides. And I've been a major, as a source of my cards, I would say well over half the cards I acquire every year come through eBay since probably 1999, when I first started my eBay account. I looked the other day. So, it hasn't changed. If anything, it's gotten more important to the card community, eBay. I mean,
yeah. So
we kind of had that experiment with Golden. I don't think people want something else. I really don't. But I mean, if there's different, like for high-end vintage, like you're not going to send $1 million Mickey Mantle card to eBay. You never will. But for a $100, $200 card, and I love that. And, we tried, and there's others trying, and like, it's great. Competition is an awesome thing for us as hobbyists, that people are trying to keep eBay honest, but we're partnered with them. So,
yeah. And there's also like a little bit of mixture of like church and state on that, of like, is there a conflict of interest of, we have our own marketplace and we're the ones grading the cards that go to that marketplace.
Yeah.
And, if you want to go down like the YouTube comment rabbit hole of, well, they're grading it, so if it gets a higher grade, that means it'll sell for more, which means they get a higher percentage.
I've heard all that, but I mean,
yeah,
you take that one step further. It's like, yeah, okay, we'll ruin our reputation to make a couple extra bucks in the shrine. It makes no sense. So,
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, like as someone that reads a ton of YouTube comments, I think on some of that, I'm like, do you really think, whatever you guys are, multi-million, billion, whatever it is, company is going to risk everything over making an extra 5% on $1,000 sale versus a $200 sale on a 9 versus a 10, or whatever the case might be? It's just like, I don't know.
No, never will.
Yeah. My one gripe is, because I used the direct eBay and the vaulting stuff actually not that long ago, and it was a very pleasant experience. Shipping.
Yeah,
Shipping charges stuck.
I know. So our problem right now is our vault in Delaware, and most cards are graded in California. And so we have to get the cards from California to Delaware, and that's where we do all the eBay stuff. We're going to fix this. We know it's a problem. We hear it all the time. We are shipping the cards. I mean, there is true cost there. But the solution is don't ship them to Delaware. Like, if they're going to sell, just keep them in California until they're sold and then ship them from Delaware, or from California, excuse me. That's clearly the plan. We just, we actually talked about it at length this morning in our exec team. So it's probably our biggest gripe. You're not alone. And I can't wait to fix that. So.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't even necessarily like I didn't mind paying for the shipping. It was like I'm getting hit full freight here. Like I
I know.
can I at least get a discount? Like I'm using your guys' vault. Like,
No, I know. That's actually, yeah. No, I get it. I mean, we take insurance. We don't ship in these big giant crates. It's we're using FedEx just like a normal order, believe it or not. So we've got a lot of optimization to do, and that's top of the list.
Yeah.
So.
So you mentioned earlier, obviously, the deepening ties with eBay. When, or I assume this has to be on a whiteboard somewhere. When will I get to the point that my raw card is there for eBay authenticity guaranteed, and I can just check mark a box and say, "Here's an extra $50, grade this," or whatever,
Yeah, we're actively working on that with eBay. It's going to happen next year, probably in first half. We call this grading add-on, where you can add on grading to your purchase on eBay. It's in the weeds, but like basically, we need to if you buy a card on eBay believes, and I completely agree with them, that it's on them to keep their customer updated as to the progress of their PSA order. So it can't just be like a complete handoff. And so we're basically working through the technical specifics of how do we pass back statuses and so forth to eBay, so that when you log into your eBay purchase history and my collection on ebay.com, it says, oh, your card's in grading, your card's been, your card's been received by PSA, that whole thing. So we're definitely getting there, probably Q1, Q2. So I would use the same thing. I get 10 or 15 cards a day raw from eBay that I am going to grade, and I would much rather just click a little button.
Yeah, I mean, for the same thing we talked about before, like it saves on shit. Like, okay, cool, now I got it shipped to me. Now it's already at PSA. It's coming to me now.
Oh yeah, well, we're $250 above. Yeah, it's hilarious. Like I see it in our office. Yeah, we see the $250 raw cards come in for AG, and then authenticity guarantee, and it's like we're shipping them out, and I know at least some percentage of those are going to come right back. It's silly, and then they get lost or stolen in the mail. Yeah, it's silly. It's expensive.
Well, and that too, kind of what we talked about earlier with like the PSA offers thing. It's like you could kind of go down this whole other rabbit hole of the speed to market of I could go on eBay, buy a bunch of raw cards, send them straight to you guys for grading, have them graded, and then instantly sell them. And that's like, I don't know, I'm probably turning those cards around maybe 2 to 3 weeks faster than I would like under the traditional method right now of ship it here, ship it there, ship it back to there, ship it back to there, and then ship it again.
So just so you know, like the AG team, like they're actual graders. Like even though we're not grading the card, eBay, it's just a yes, no, is the card real or not? We also check for like scratches and things that are not significantly as described. We didn't hire some random people. Like we literally pulled people out of the grading room. So the point is those same people can grade the card. We're not set up to do it yet because of what I just said with the technical integration with eBay.com. So we'll get there. We're ready for it. Like we could do it. I mean, like I said, the same people who would grade it are already touching the card. We just have to add in the numerical grade and then the sealing component to it. So
it's always the tech stuff that holds everything up.
I know.
Kind of the other big thing that you guys had this year was the GameStop stuff. And I have to imagine, like, how does something like that come? Like, obviously GameStop got into cards with the whole, like, they wanted to buy cards back and stuff like that. But how does something like that come together?
I'm going to slow it down for you guys so we can listen to this right.
Companies that you would think would be like a match made in heaven per se. But it feels like in the early on, it's worked quite well. But how does like something like that come together to even begin?
Yeah, I have to give them credit. I mean, this was their idea. In fact, when I first heard the idea, and our corp dev team, as I mentioned before, they spearheaded this and deserve credit as well. Like, I was like, what? GameStop wants to, buy I'd been to GameStop many times in my life, but I just couldn't connect the dots initially. I'm embarrassed to admit it. Like, like
the dots.
Great, like to buy graded cards. Like that's where it started. And then, but they were so smart about it. Like they knew that they wanted to limit it to graded. They knew they wanted to, which I love, start with PSA, graded only. They knew about card ladder. Like they knew everything. And they came to us, they're like, here's what we want to do. And we're like, all right, like, here are APIs and here's card ladder and have fun. And then, they called us a few weeks later, like, hey, we want to start accepting raw cards for grading. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like you're not a card shop. And then, boy, did we realize, how wrong we were. They're very fast moving. Like the speed at which they got both of those programs out was like Elon Musk style. It was really cool. So
when the buying thing came out, I was like, okay, like
hold up. I just want people to know, okay? PSA is extremely surprised and happy and satisfied with this announcement and working of these programs. He listened to what he said. If you remember, at the time, Ryan Cohen was hiring people off of Twitter saying, I need the number one branding guy. I need the number one analytics guy. I need the number one, apps guy. Look at what they did. PSA gave them the keys to the castle, said, here, use our APIs, make it work, make the synergy work. And they did that. And the finished product is GameStop.com. It is PSA graded tabs. And it's everything they're doing right now. Holy shit. Hey, guys, go to GameStop. Go take a card and get it graded. You know, I have 3 out right now. They have a tablet. Every GameStop has a tablet. And they're taking pictures. And they're sending. And they're signing. And you're boom, boom, boom. It's so fast and easy. And every employee's getting better at it every day. Oh! Hundreds of cards. Thousands of cards a day. I guarantee it. That's why that big-ass smile's on Nat's face. Oh, I got to hear that again, guys. I'm sorry. Here we go. Oh, man, I got excited. Guys, honestly, I got very excited.
We just have to add in the numerical grade and then the ceiling component to it.
Oh.
So
It's always the tech stuff that holds everything up.
I know.
We're the next Blacklist.
Kind of the other big thing that you guys had this year was the GameStop stuff. And I have to imagine, like, how does something like that come? Like, obviously, GameStop got into cards with the whole.
Hold up. I just want to explain that to people if people don't know. The idea of we want to do this, and then the implementation and the training, the software that you have to develop, it's unbelievable for companies to do this. I'm telling you, I've been there. Hey guys, we want to start this new thing where you take this key fob and you go like this, and then this works. You're like, okay. We're going to practice it for a year on 7 stores. We'll see if it works out. Who knows? Mass adoption, maybe? No. GameStop goes, yeah, we can do that. They are giants. You want to know what they're doing with $5 billion? Look in front of you guys. This shit ain't cheap. This is real. This is technology. This is the future.
Whole they wanted to buy cards back and stuff like that. But how does something like that come together of two? I don't know that you guys are two companies that you would think would be like a match made in heaven per se, but it feels like in the early on it's worked quite well. But how does something like that come together to even begin?
Yeah, I have to give them credit. I mean, this was their idea. In fact, when I first heard the idea, and our corp dev team, as I mentioned before, they spearheaded this and deserve credit as well. I was like, what? GameStop wants to, buy I'd been to GameStop many times in my life, but I just couldn't connect the dots initially. I'm embarrassed to admit it.
Connect the dots.
Great, to buy graded cards. That's where it started. And then, but they were so smart about it. They knew that they wanted to limit it to graded. They knew they wanted to, which I love, start with PSA, graded only. They knew about card ladder. They knew everything. And they came to us, they're like, here's what we want to do. And we're like, all right, here are APIs and here's card ladder and have fun. And then, they called us a few weeks later, hey, we want to start accepting raw cards for grading. I'm like, what? What do you mean? You're not a card shop. And then, boy, did we realize, how wrong we were.
Right.
They're very fast moving. The speed at which they got both of those programs out was Elon Musk style. It was really cool. So
when the buying thing came out, I was like, okay, I get it, but I don't. When the group submitting thing came out, I immediately a lot of people were like, yeah, I'm not giving my cards to GameStop. You're crazy.
That's what I said too. I said it to them.
But I remember doing the video on it, and I remember being like, I think this is kind of gonna work. We're not the audience for this. My audience of the YouTube channel is, and there's actually people that comment all the time that said that they're using it and it's been working great. But generally speaking, I don't know that my audience is the audience that GameStop's going for. I think they're going for that casual audience, and I'm sure I have to imagine you're probably seeing a bulk of TCG coming in from.
Yeah, it's like 90%.
That. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. But like, I kind of get it. Like, I kind of got that part. I'm like, I think this is actually going to work. So I wasn't like super surprised.
Yeah,
when
we were.
I saw, like, the revenue numbers come out in the GameStop thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I'm not like super surprised that they got that many cards in.
Yeah, no, it's really again, kudos to them for figuring out the operational plan, the marketing plan, the role training. Like, I mean, doing this at like thousands of stores or whatever it is. I mean, it's super impressive. And I should have known, because like, on Twitter, I don't have like a ton of followers, like compared to some other like crypto and these stock, but like I'd comment on PSA, like the instant offers thing, and then 90% of the replies are GameStop people. Like, when is this going to launch on GameStop? I'm like, what are you like? I think there's more GameStoppers than card collectors responding to commenting on stuff now. So it just shows you how big of a brand GameStop is, how big their retail presence is. What's that quote? The story of, or I'm gonna butcher it, but their demise was far exaggerated, or whatever the right, the rhetoric on them for years has, has been negative, but if you actually are in this community, like, go to one, and again, I hadn't been to one in a few years because I'm not in the gaming world much at all. I'm a card guy, but the community is really alive, of people going in those stores, buying cards. So I went to one literally an hour ago,
Damn
here
right.
in Orange, Southern California, the town of Orange in Orange County. And I mean, there's more Pokemon cards in there than games. It should probably be Card Stop instead of GameStop.
Look, I love that. And I told everybody about this. I said, guys, I walked in and half the building was cards, right? Like, oh, wow. Bitcoin just broke 100,000, guys. Bitcoin broke 100,000 right now for the first time in the history of the history. Card Stop and Bitcoin. What can I say? What's my favorite part about this whole thing, and what Nat's trying to tell you is, you might think they're not elite. You might think there's some off-brand, but do you know how big the revenue footprint for GameStop is? It's not what you see. It's not $4 billion. It's not $5 billion. It's infinite. You just have to give them a product that people want to buy. And if you can mass produce it, they will show up. There's not a game out right now that you have to have. There's not a console that you have to have. There are some cards out there that you have to have. But in this hobby, in this life that you're living, GameStop can be so much bigger when they give you the products that you have to have. And over time, they're going to hit it. They're going to hit the, this damn San Andreas, whatever this damn game is called that I don't play, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. But when you see these games come out and they actually trigger you to buy a system, and then you have the new Switch coming out, and yes, Grand Theft Auto 6. So when you have all of this coming out, that's going to in turn take more people to the store. But those people are going to find out the other parts of the store. Oh, GameStop sells that. Oh, GameStop does that. Oh, they do this. What is that guy doing over there? Oh, he's grading his cards. They grade cards? I've been collecting cards for 20 years. That gives people just another reason to come to the store. This is why it's not about, like these guys in the chat right here who don't understand. It has nothing to do with, they're selling cards, they're not going to make a difference. And you don't understand. The card aspect gets people to the store. By GameStop not having cards, but being sold out, it's not a bad thing. You still go there to check to see if they have them. If you're not in the app and you're still stopping at the store, walking in and going, oh, you guys have any cards here? And then they don't have what you want. You know what you do? You end up buying something else. I'll buy this, whatever. Because you just want it. You want to be there. You want to be a part of it. But GameStop community and the family is massive. I love Nat Turner. This guy's so good. He's so good.
That'll be their rebrand when they
I
become
don't know, maybe.
National Card Stop or
Yeah.
National Card Shop.
I just think it's really impressive how they've, pivoted, or not pivot is the wrong word. They've adapted and really integrated trading card games, especially into their brands, but also their stores.
Yeah, I mean, they were kind of forced to, because it's not like physical video game media is the future. You know, everyone just wants to go on their PlayStation or their Xbox and click buy it now, and it just downloads. Like, there's not really a need to walk into a physical store and walk out with a physical disc anymore. So
Yeah,
they
I don't
kinda
know
had to
that
do
yet.
something.
I don't know gaming at all. I'm so naive there, but you're probably right.
Well, now you're going to be an expert now.
No, I'm the card guy.
Yeah, but I mean, from your
what I
guys'
could add and
perspective,
what I
too,
don't know. So. What's that?
So that's really true too. Think about how good Ryan is. Ryan is a retail guy. Ryan understands retail. He understands the functionality of logistics and final delivery and OTO, right? Online to offline. And I see it. I see what Ryan's doing, what he's done in the past, and the growth, the scale of a company. Ryan and Larry Chang, they know how to run a business. But when you want to run a business and you want to do it the right way and you want to get into the world of cards, what better guy to go get than Nat Turner, the number one card guy in the world? The guy who has the most intellect and ideas, right? So he's right there with you. But this is why you put him on the board. You put the best people in the world and you partnered up with the best guy in the world. Remember, I already told you his background, 250, an angel investor in 250 different companies. He's got tons of money, he's got tons of cash, and he raises a lot of it. But this man is in charge of the card world. He has the most influence in the world of grading cards, submitting cards, and this transition that you see happening. He partnered up, and he's on the board of directors. They know what they're doing, and they understand it. And I think he understands. He's pleasantly surprised because he didn't know how good GameStop was. He didn't know how good the leadership was. He had no idea. But I bet you once he met Ryan and Larry and the boys, they put it all together. Fire.
I said from your guys' perspective too, that like instantly gives, like, I don't know how many store, I remember talking about it in the video, I don't remember off the top of my head. Like, that just gives you instantly like hundreds of physical drop-off locations.
Yeah.
Like just at the the flick of a press release.
Yeah. So the two things, we hear this a lot. People really don't want to ship their cards. Not everybody, but a lot of people. That's what's holding them back from submitting. People think that's the only reason that they don't submit through directly. The other reason is that a lot of people, like over half, we see this with our local drop-off events when we go to an LCS, and they just have like 2 or 3 questions they want to ask about grading. Like, is this card? Is this worth grading? What's this worth if it gets a 9? How does it work? And the cool part about GameStop is that they have a person behind a counter. LCSs have the same thing. The problem with LCSs is like, I can only name 2 of them that have more than 1 location. And so there's no scale to any of them. And we've desperately been adding new dealers, new shops over the years. But to your point, the cool part about GameStop is they have a lot of locations. But what's even cooler is that they have humans in there that are passionate, who are working there, who are happy to answer questions about the Pokemon cards you just walked in with. They may not know everything about it, but at least they're a friendly face that can help you. And like I said before, GameStop's done a great job of training, their employees across the country to, answer these sorts of questions. And that's a big part of what holds people back from grading. The cards are out there. It's not an issue of that. It's, it's a person walks in with their binder and they're like, here's my son's card collection from 1999, Pokemon. I want to submit these and sell them. Which one should I? Like that, we see that, a lot.
So when I was at the Front Row Card Show, right? So there's all these dealers. And the LCSs, those are your local card shops. Just so that we're clear, that's what they're talking about. And some of those local card shops make fees when they submit to PSA. And they have partnerships with PSA, direct partnerships. They frown upon GameStop because they feel like GameStop's intruding in on what they've been doing, their livelihood, right? But when GameStop can do it for better GameStop actually gets a partnership with PSA. Now you leverage that partnership. You leverage the margins, you leverage the pricing, and no one's going to be able to beat GameStop. GameStop's too big. It's $1 billion company, $5 billion, so, and in this case, $12 billion company. And of course, PSA is going to partner up with them because they're pleasantly surprised by the movement of it. So by January of this year, of 2025, every GameStop will have you being able to submit, from what I'm being told, cards. That's going to increase the amount of cards these guys do daily. If there's 2,900 GameStops in the U.S. alone, and you submit cards, and the average GameStop is submitting almost 50 cards a day, from what I've seen, you're looking at potentially these guys are going to end up doing 100,000 cards just from GameStop. And they can't sustain that. They might have another avalanche. They might have to expand and grow and scale. Like, this is really going to happen because you have these new decks coming out. You have new rookies every year. And this is the sensation of the hobby itself. So I'm excited. And then once mass adoption happens, right, people learn, people know what they're doing. There you go. I've even seen some GameStops that are test stores. I have a test store in the mall where I live. They are selling raw cards, not just PSA graded cards. In the case, I took a picture. I did a video about this. I took a picture of it and I posted it. I don't forget where I posted it. Maybe on the Discord only. But they are selling raw cards. $5, $7, $9. And it's for you know what it's for? It's for the guys who want to play the game. You want to buy Magic cards. You guys want to buy the Pokemon cards. Because I met a guy at the card show and he had cards in a rubber band. He goes, I don't want them graded. I want them like this so that I can play this game. I'm like, I don't know what game they play. I don't even understand the game. I don't know. I don't have piece of paper. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons type of dude. But I'm telling you, there's a world out here, and GameStop's intruding.
Yeah, sometimes I think we're so in the thick of it of like, oh, well, submitting the PSA is easy. Like, I just log on, I fill out the thing,
really
I
hard.
send the cards, and it's good. Like, it's the simplest thing in the world because we do it all the time.
You know it.
I think people lose perspective of, okay, little Timmy wants to grade his Pikachu that he just opened, and the mom and dad have no idea what PSA might even is,
Oh, it's really hard. I mean, we say all the time, our customers are experts. That's our biggest strength and weakness. Like, the people who submit to us know what they're doing.
Yeah, you're absolutely their experts. But I got this guy in the chat right now that I'm going to address. Your name is what is your name? I just gave you a timeout. Whole slate. You're like, I'm pumping all my money into crypto because the new SEC chairman, he's all about, blah, blah, blah. Paul Atkins, right? Hey, just so that we're clear, bro, this is what Paul Atkins wrote, okay? Where there's a huge amount, obviously, to talk about is on the topic. I have a lot of confidence in most likely the folks that are at the SEC. For example, similar to after 9/11, when they did erase restrictions to allow corporations to buy back stock during the recent crisis back in September. I think that rule that came out to allow that. He's talking about naked shares that they're buying. Then with respect to naked shorting, this is his viewpoint, okay, Paul Atkins. Then, with respect to naked shorting, that's a huge issue. Some steps that I had thought were going to take immediate when I left the commission, unfortunately, did not get done. He used to be an SEC commissioner. Now he's in charge of the whole thing. What do you think he wants to fix? Naked short selling? Just maybe that. For example, I think it would be helpful to have plenty if you short a stock, but do not follow through in the borrowing it and delivering it because you don't want to pay for the borrowing of it. You sort of kick the can down the road. That sort of thing, if it is allowed to go on, is a problem. I think that fosters some of the issues in short selling. That's Paul Atkins. That's the new SEC chairman. That's the guy who's going to go after you for short selling and not delivering, or we hope. Because he's been at the job before. He's a good guy. We get it. But if you think this is like some crypto run, nowhere in there is he saying, I'm going to be a part of crypto. We're going to do crypto. Guess what? We're going to initiate an individual coin, and it's going to be this. No. You guys get out of the world of this bullshit. Do you guys understand what crypto is? Crypto has a fiat value. How is it ever going to replace it? Decentralizing finance, period, is not the. This is a never land. This is a fairy tale. There's enough money to go around to manipulate you to buy it at the top. You think I want to buy Bitcoin at 100,000? I'm not buying at 100,000 because when am I going to make what I'm making now on GameStop? I did 3x on my money from this year. I'm up 140% from money that I spent last November. 140%. You want to get 140% on crypto today? Well, then let me know when it's at 250,000 because that's what you're going to need. That's what I mean by buying the top of markets. That's what I mean by not buying Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft. Everything's at the top right now. And if you don't believe it, why are we at all-time highs in the world? There's companies, there's individual securities, there's mid caps and small caps that are priced right, that are navigating, that are transitioning and pivoting, and you just don't see it because you only want to see and be blinded by the big numbers. Go pour all your money into crypto all you want. See the inflated number it is. And then when you sell it for the fiat cash that it's worth, you see the depreciating aspect of it. But just remember, 94% of all Bitcoin is owned by institutions, banks, big banks that bought it back in in 2013 and 2018 and 17. Every time it halved. And now it just did another half. And what are you going to do? You're going to buy it again? You're buying it this time. The top of it, by the way. Ridiculous. And that's why I gave you a 30-minute timeout, because nobody wants to hear your bullshit about pumping crypto because of Paul Atkins. Paul Atkins is about short selling. He's about naked shorts, about stopping the bullshit.
Weakness is that it's really intimidating when you don't know what you're doing. Like, pull up our online submission center, declared value. Like, what are these? Like, which we just removed, thankfully. But like,
that's max value now.
Yeah, max insured value. Yeah, there's so many little things like that.
Millie Mills, spare me with buying everything at the bottom. We bought it at this, we bought it at that. Are you still buying today? Do you get where I'm coming from? Your profits are capped. Are you still buying today? That's what I ask you. Do you still believe in your investment today? You know how I DCA all the way through? Have you seen the buy orders for the last 3 years, 4 years for me? I DCA the whole way through. This is why I'm green. If you're telling me you timed the market perfectly for every crypto, well, I'm sorry, you got it at 29? It was at 16, bro. You bought it at 100% increase from the guys who had it at 16. Did you miss out on that? Or are you just going to ride off into the sunset now? Are you selling tonight? Don't come in here bragging about what you have and what you're writing unless you're selling. By the way, are you paying your mortgage? Are you paying your rent? What are you doing with your money right now? Do you have a job? What are you doing with excess cash? Are you saving up for a big trip down the road? Because I'm telling you now, that correction's going to hurt, bro. Bah. No application. No application whatsoever other than hopes and dreams. Who's the CEO again?
That turn people off. Like we have the I can't say the exact numbers, but hundreds of thousands of people sign up for PSA for an account every year, make it to the online submission center, and then don't submit. So it's they have intent. They even type in cards, but they don't know. They get overwhelmed, and some percentage of them are going to go to our dealers, which we love. Just go to places like GameStop. Wait for our local submission events, drop-off events. Wait till the national. Wait till whatever show. But I would argue a majority of them just keep the cards and give up. And so we're trying to bridge those things for them.
Yeah. You mentioned the max value / declared value change. We could talk about that real quick.
Oh.
So was that just let's just kind of make things less confusing decision? Yeah. Is that kind of what drove that?
Yeah, it's caused some consternation around the shipping because the insurance kind of gets jacked up. But we added a little feature where you can edit it now, so it defaults to the max of the service level, which I think most people are going to just accept and do because that's you like being covered. It doesn't. Funny enough, when you run the math, most people on average are actually going to pay slightly less for shipping than before. But it's there's a lot of detail into that. Some people are going to pay more. Some people are going to pay less. And so we tried to thread that needle with how we calculate shipping and insurance based on this change. But yeah, I mean, it was when we did focus groups and people, hit the online submission center, like I said, especially newbies who were really trying to help onboard into the hobby. Declared value was one of the top 2 or 3 things that just they didn't understand. And wait, you're supposed to tell me what the card's worth, not me, and declared value, really what it is if we lose the card or it gets damaged, that's what you're covered up. That's what we tell our insurance company that, that's the coverage. That's truly what it is. So, it just simplified things by not having to type it. It also makes you go quicker. You don't have to type it in, so you can with fewer clicks, you can rip through a submission faster. A lot of our dealers have appreciated it because it's, they a lot of them drop off anyway. The shipping doesn't matter. So, not having to type in one more field on a 500 card order actually makes a big difference. So,
yeah. And I know you've done tons of different interviews over the years, like the whole declare value upcharge thing. So can you basically break down the reason why a base Luca is $20 a grade and an 86 Fleer is, let's just call it $1,000 a grade or whatever? Like part of the answer is, I guess, it's the insurance versus the PSA guarantee. Like, where does that extra fee, like, where's that going for the customer?
Yeah, I mean, look, businesses, you have a choice. You can price based on your cost, or you can price based on the value you create. And, most businesses are the latter. PSA is no different. I would argue that Luca card is worth more, thanks to PSA, more than anything. Like, we're putting our name behind it. There's a grade guarantee that we don't collect insurance premiums on after you get the card back. That, today we probably spent 180 grand buying cards back. I've approved the buybacks. Like, we've spent well over $10 million since I got here buying cards back that were fake, that we graded historically. And our only chance at collecting an insurance premium on that's the initial grading fee. But I would argue the biggest reason is the value pricing. I mean, if you have just to put a extreme example on it, if you have a raw Honus Wagner card, is that card worth more raw or in a PSA 2 holder? And the answer is the latter. So, I feel it's very, transparent and deserved and not just us, for any company that creates value for an asset to, be compensated for that value. Not the least of which is we're guaranteeing, and we have to buy it back at then market value at any point in the future. So, I mean, it's a pretty big, liability that we're carrying. So that's why.
Yeah. And we both know that the PSA guarantee does, I think, carry a lot of weight, and is probably a big factor on why, especially maybe not necessarily on the lower end, but on the higher end, kind of justify those prices. If like, okay, I have this little insurance policy behind me if something is amiss with this card.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a huge deal. I mean, like I said, I'm shaking my head because I can, it just kills me every time I see one of these cards, and even more so that they were graded since I've been here, because we put so much effort into building content and process and specialization to catch these things. And it happens, slips through. It's a lot less frequent than it used to be, but these 90s basketball cards, man, like, I know this stuff well. Like, you grade the damn thing is 99% real. In fact, the card is real. It just has a fake serial number. Like, it's so tricky. And then it's like $250,000. So, and like, I look back and, like, back in the day when we weren't as good at pricing, like, we bought a card back the other day for 150 grand. And I look back, we graded it in 2012 and we got $12 to grade it. So, like, that's the reason right there. Like, we should have, that's not a good business. If you're pricing, yourself at cost, and then you're holding yourself accountable, indefinitely at a floating market value. But again, guarantee or not, the main point is that, value creation is a big thing. Look at auction houses. They charge, 20% buyer's premium. How's that any different?
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned about, like, catching more and more fake stuff coming through and things like that. Is that just like I have to imagine that is just like a constant battle of you guys catch something and then the bad guys figure out some new thing and maybe slip a couple through and then you guys catch on to that. Like, I have to imagine the amount of time and energy that is spent on that is insane.
It's huge. It's the room next to me, brand protection. Yeah, I mean, we have an evidence room containing thousands of counterfeit fakes that in the grading. I'm in the grading room. It's right outside here. That is a resource library that's pretty unparalleled. We have all of it's digitized. As soon as a certain spec gets pulled up in a grading system or the research team, it's like, hey, here's 25 examples of a real one. Here's 5 examples of a fake one. Here's what the zero should look like in the serial number. Here's what a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 looks like. Like all the different things. And we have a whole team that sits there writing this content that gets surfaced at the point of grading or research. None of that existed. Pre-2021, we weren't even taking pictures of cards before or after grading. We take a front and back image of every card raw and graded now. So we're taking 180,000 images every day. It's a lot of images. Actually, it's more now because including the US and coins, it's like 240,000. So, and all that feeds into our giant database. And so we have software going at it. We have humans going at it. We've got, experts externally, like for vintage, especially that, we have to stay ahead. Like we found some really scary things, that we're now working more closely with the manufacturers to alert them. And they're actually now helping us too. It's bi-directional. So we're, like when, what's a good example? Like when this was public, but like, an employee walked out with a sheet of one of ones not so long ago, a year or two ago. We alerted our entire grading team. Not just like, hey, you don't just stand up. It's like in the software, every grader has a screen in front of them. If that spec pops up, doesn't matter the player, it's triple checked, and sure enough, a fake came through. We were on the phone with the manufacturer, and an hour later, they were on a flight to come pick up the copy and inspect it and trace, like we work with law enforcement every day. I mean, that's the business we're in. We're the rating agency in the middle, choosing right or wrong. It's what we're paid to do. I mean, that's it's part of it. So
Yeah. It seems like,
Cool.
and I'd be remiss if I didn't at least ask, the current battleground seems to be a lot around the card cleaning stuff. Like that's, you can make it YouTube video every day about card cleaning if you wanted to. How, you guys came out with a pretty firm stance of, no spray, no wax, in your updated terms and conditions recently.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? Because I know like everyone knows it's difficult to detect. Like how hard of a battle is that to fight when, there's not necessarily like a A/B yes no type thing of if something happened to a card or not?
it's hard. It's a very different problem than counterfeit detection. Alteration detection is a totally different thing. If you wipe a surface down with a microfiber to remove fingerprints, no big deal. Even if you use distilled water to, slight, on a little towelette, and we do this to remove fingerprints, just speck of dust, that's not a big deal. That's nothing. But if you use chemicals or wax or, things like that, we're getting better at detecting it. I mean, cards come in here, believe it or not, soaking wet. Where like in the card saver, you can see condensation and the card literally to the touch is wet. We do have a lot of before and after photos of cards, especially serial number cards, fingerprinting of cards. We've killed a number of cards that clearly have had creases removed, that we're starting to pick up on more and more. Our best form of action is typically punishment. Unfortunately, we're having to ban customers, that we catch doing this on a regular basis.
Hey, I agree with that same lifestyle and thinking. I am banning people who come in here and talk about did not buy Bitcoin or crypto. Exactly. If you come in here pushing crypto bros, it's never going to work. You're going to hit the road, Jack, because there's nothing about this title that says crypto. Nothing here says Bitcoin. Nothing here says XRP. Nothing here says Doge. We literally say GameStop stock, GameStop, and then 56 days. And what does 56 days mean? That means that we are on an all-time high on the market for the 56th day this year. But don't worry. GameStop's earning is in 6 days. GameStop's rocket movement is in 16 days. Marantz called it, Marantz said it, and I'll be here to watch it.
Trimming's a huge one. It's a little easier for us to detect because we're pretty quantitative around sizing of cards through imaging and before and after, but also just edge detection and natural edge detection. But that's still a big problem, especially for vintage. But yeah, I mean it's part of our job. Counterfeit detection, it's a binary yes or no. Typically, grading, alteration detection is a part of grading. It's arguably the hardest thing to do other than counterfeit detection. So,
yeah, I can't imagine. Like I said, I just can't imagine the amount of time and energy that goes into all that. Has that been where you've mentioned AI a few times? Is that where stuff like that becomes like a big help on like the tech side of it for kind of helping, not necessarily catch, but document, flag, kind of the whole kit and caboodle?
Yeah, and we're working on cool stuff. I can't get into all of it, but I mean, like in coins, for example, we have machines that detect certain chemicals that have been applied to a coin. You can imagine the same thing with cards. There's not a lot you can do with imaging. You can do that with sizing for trimming, but for chemical use, unless you have it before or after, it's hard with imaging. But physical detection is the way to. We've got a lot of investment in that world. Yes, I mean we have like a whole lab here that's basically trying different things to stay ahead, and it's not limited to just cleaning. Like I'll give you one of the big things we've been battling. It's public is as these slabs become valuable, people try and fake the slabs too, and so we've got a whole process and team here in the brand protection team that we had another one today. Johnny Bench fake slab that the card's real, it's a look-alike. It was a 10, but the card's not a 10, it's a 5. But the eye appeal looks great, so you can be fooled. The slab was fake, the label was fake. And there's so many different variations of this, and the FBI has been really helpful in helping us take down a couple of these syndicates. It's not a huge issue, in quantity, but dollar-wise, they target the really big, the 86 Fleer Jordan, PSA 10s, and stuff like that. So, we have to, it's on us to build. So we're building a lot of cool stuff in our holders around, covert security features that, you can tell, covert and overt features that make it almost impossible to counterfeit, which will lead to people needing to reholder their cards more, which I think is a good thing because then you get imaging on the site, cert verification. Educated buyers have more optionality, more things at their disposal to verify the card they're buying is real, even though it's graded. So that's another frontier we're on. So
Yeah, you guys just had an updated holder, like 2-3 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
I know initially launched, there were some issues, and then you guys went back to the drawing board and relaunched.
The holder was great, and the cards were fine. It's just we had this little micro cracking that made it look like the card was scratched, but it was on the plastic. But we fixed that, the flow lines. But it's the holder. I mean, honestly, we probably make an improvement on the holder every month. That some we talk about, some we don't. Most we don't talk about, things that we're just trying. That different sizes. I mean, we have 50 to 70 different dimensions of cards and thicknesses and XYZ, all different, sizing and thicknesses, but also condition sensitive. We have to do lamination. We've got all these different ways to hold our cards, tickets, packs, etc. And so it's not as simple as just the biggest case we use is the Pokemon case. That's the most that we produce. So we focus on the low hanging fruit, but it's not as simple as one holder. It ends up being 50 or 60 or 70 holders.
So they do the most grading that they do Pokemon cards. What do you know?
Yeah.
Have you guys rolled out the new? I think Ryan showed it on your guys' Instagram live that you did about a month or so ago. The die cut holders, have those hit the market yet?
No, not live, not in the wild yet. It's so cool.
It looked really cool when he showed them off on the IG thing.
It's so cool. I don't have one in my office here, I don't think, but no. But yeah, it's so cool. I have a lot of die cut cards, and it really bothers me when they shift around. And they're safe in the current holder. The aesthetics of the card, shifting and stuff is poor at best. So that's a good example of we're trying to do star bags, the team bags for packs. What else are we working on? We got a new tall boy holder we're working on. Comic holder, magazine.
Yeah,
got a lot of stuff.
I know the comic holder has been on that side of the fence has been not so much the holder a little bit, but the label too. But both been kind of a hot button issue on that side of things. How obviously you guys aren't in that market yet, officially you're not slabbing anything, but how has that kind of process been of kind of throwing that out to the wind, getting a bunch of feedback, and then kind of going back to the workshop? I know you guys had it on the floor at New York City Comic Con, but I don't think you've had any updates since after kind of taking a bunch of feedback.
Yeah, we're in the lab with it. I mean, we've got some various prototypes. We actually, someone tweeted, I don't remember who it was, someone tweeted at us hey, this is what your label should look like. And we looked at it, we're like, shit, that's better. That's better than what we had. So we're definitely kind of back to the drawing board a little bit on the label. We're very open to, at the end of the day, we work for the collectors, right? So it's in our name. So we're very open to feedback. It's a new frontier for us. We're very excited about it. We see a lot of it, less comics, but we see a lot of magazines, autographs come in, our own PSA magazines, which I have all over this place, So yeah, we're very excited. It's still in the lab, but I mean, we're definitely launching in probably Q2 of next year. Definitely is probably too strong word, but we definitely have plans to launch in Q2. Something could always happen, but we're on track. We've got plenty of holders in the office here containing books that we're, proud to have in our holder, and that are we have the grading team stood up. A lot of the holder actually is in a good place. The label and some of the product and tech work for online submitting and populations and population reports and stuff like that is what we're working on. So it's a big, and there's a lot goes into launching a new category. Which we've done before. We launched Funko Pops. We bought WADA for video games. We knew, but it's we're not going to do it rushed. So
it's also got to be a lot different too, because Funko Pops, you guys were kind of there wasn't anyone else doing that.
So they bought Funko Pops to get graded. They also did WADA. If you heard them, WADA for video games. They rate video games, used video games, new video games in the packages and stuff. Then they give it a rating, and you can, for collectors of the games themselves. So they do more than just coins and baseball cards. WADA, they also do video games. So I wonder when that happens.
Yeah.
Versus
that doesn't really matter, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it mattered, from the idea that you were kind of coming in comics, you're coming in as the underdog. In Pops, there isn't really anybody else,
Yeah, but again, you still have to do all the same things. So you gotta.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does have to be I can only imagine what that spin up process must be like. To be okay, let's grade this now, and just starting from ground zero.
Yeah. We there's a lot of things we get asked to do toys and Hot Wheels and Lego sets and all sorts of things, but the comics, we have a lot of TCG is our biggest category at I know TCG and comics aren't the same thing, but a lot of look behind you, a lot of people have collect comics, collect cards, and it's a natural extension for and it's not just comics. We're doing magazines and all sorts of stuff. It's just a natural extension for PSA, and it was right up there with liquidity and that kind of stuff was one of the most frequently asked for things from our from our submitters. Hey, can you, I hate, good examples are PSA magazine. We have a lot of people who collect those. We have parallels and variations and autographs, and people are like, hey, I want those in a PSA holder. It's a PSA magazine, for God's sake. So that really ramped up the interest in our side to do it as the PSA magazine became a bigger and bigger thing. So
one of the interesting side things on comics is something that you've done on the card side now, which is what I was begging for forever, was graders notes. That is something that is instilled on the comic side of, that's just a thing, like those exist.
Yeah, totally.
And it's myself, like someone that plays in both sides of the tracks on that. It always boggled my mind that card companies didn't do it. You had Beckett with subgrades, and some other companies kind of would give you like a general idea of why it graded the way that it did. But how has graders notes kind of, what kind of feedback have you guys seen on that internally and externally?
I would say it's been very positive on balance. We've adapted it a bit. I think the biggest point of confusion, I'm glad we've done it. I mean, it's definitely, I'll tell you, our customer service calls have definitely gone down. A lot of people would call like, why did my card get a 6? I think what most people don't realize is that the notes are not intended to be, and they're certainly not comprehensive. It's the major flaw. It's, you may see like centering left, right, but you're like, wait, the card's, 60-40 or 55-45, but why isn't it a 10? 55-45 should be a 10. That's because, there's, probably a print dot, or there's something, maybe one corner slightly soft. The grader's not sitting there writing a paragraph per card. There's almost always more than one thing going on with the card. They're instructed to write the thing that should be most obvious. And so we have some work to do to make that clear, or make the grader notes more comprehensive. We're probably going to go after both, and try and beef them up. Our challenge is that slows the grading team down quite a bit, and we're struggling with grading capacity every day, and it's a balance. I think people, if they could choose, would have cheaper pricing and faster turnaround times and more comprehensive notes, if I'm being honest. So that's kind of why it is what it is right now.
Well, you guys also have a kind of gatekeep on higher end submissions at the moment.
Yeah, but we're going to roll it out to every card.
That was going to be my next question. We see it start to trickle down? So you beat me.
Yeah, it's gonna be an extra charge, not a lot, but it's going to be, because it does. It slows the graders down a lot, and it should. If you want transparency, great. But this isn't some AI system making it up. Like this is a human sitting there like a doctor's office writing a note on what they saw, which I think is the right way to do it. I'm a tech guy, but I believe that humans can do the best job of grading a card, and I'll probably always believe that. And so therefore they should be writing the notes. But we're doing really cool things. Like, for example, I'll give you just a snapshot. Like, we're going to have point and click where the card, if they say crease, we're going to have it where it actually, because we have images where it's going to literally point to where it is. And so the grader is going to have an ability to, place an X on the flaw issue. So you're not sitting there saying, well, I thought they said, bottom left, back, and you're like looking for it, but on the image, it'll be highlighted for you, that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of other things we're working on, but that's one of the examples.
I would think on the front end too, like you had mentioned the customer service calls. One of the biggest things that I see, and I'm sure you guys see it too, you look at anything that mentions PSA, it's somewhere along the line in the comments is about like, I sent in a 6 and then it came back a 9, or, why did this card get a 6? I don't understand. To have, the perception of inconsistency when you don't really know, because you get the card back, it says PSA 6 on it, but you're looking at it and you're like, this card, maybe you even crack it out and you're like, I just don't see what they saw. But if there's something that they can look up on the cert that says, this is what I saw, it would eliminate, or not, it's not going to never eliminate, but it would at least cut back that tension of, what the hell did they give me a 6 for on this?
Yeah. Most of the time it's a surface thing. People, it's hard. Our graders are very professional. They have professional equipment and, environment, and are trained. And most of the time it's, a subtle crease. It's a subtle scratch, a fingernail indentation. It's something that is not, centering's obvious. Corners tend to be obvious to the average submitter, but surface is really hard. Of the things, IPL colors pretty easy, edges a little harder, but generally people can tell on their own. But when someone says that, they get an 89 upper deck Griffey back and it's a 6, they're like, this card's perfect, I've had it since a kid, and I can pretty much guess what it's going to be. It's going to be some sort of surface flaw, and so that's why the point and click, I'm like, here's where the flaw is. That's one reason, like low hanging fruit. We'll knock off a lot of the issues, or the questions I should say, by having like here is, literally on the image overlaid to your exact card. Here's where the issue is.
So he's saying they're going to go ahead and give you an explanation as to why you got the grade you got. If you're not satisfied, you'll pay extra for that, some notes on it. Me personally, I guess, I'm not really caught up on it that way, but I guess some people would want to know.
Now, one of the things that you guys did differently with graders notes, which I don't like, is you guys made the choice to keep them private. What was because in comics they're very public.
We made
curious to see how you guys kind of handle that.
That was a technical. Honestly, there wasn't a business decision about that. It was really just it's like one more thing our engineering team has to do, on the third page. It's not to say they'll forever be private. I will tell you though, we had in our focus groups, a lot of people prefer them private.
Interesting.
Like if a card has a flaw, they don't want someone to see it on eBay and then look it up and be like, oh, I'm not bidding now. It's got to, even though the grade is right there, right there on the label, they viewed it as could only hurt the value of the card they just got graded. So that surprised me, but like that is something that came out of our research before we did it. So
that surprises me too, but it could just be because I'm used to the comic side where it's just kind of like the way, and then to have it this way be different is kind of like, wait, what? But I guess if you're not used to it, I guess I could kind of see that angle of it.
No, I'm kind of in your camp. Like I and I'm not going to be the one to decide this. This is going to be up to Ryan and our head of grading, Reza. But I'm kind of the mind of I type in the cert number. If the grader notes exist, it'd be really cool to see them as a potential bidder, not the original submitter. But again, it's more of a technical thing than anything. But having said that, we did see in the focus groups that a lot of people actually viewed it as like a privacy thing where they're like, this is my private information. I paid for grading. I don't need the world to know why my card got what grade it got. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to touch on, because we've been gone pretty long here, but I did want to hit on the SGC acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys picked up SGC. I forget when that was exactly, probably about 6 months ago, maybe, give or take. How was that? Just like a right place, right time? Was that we're in the market to add, another third-party grader to the arsenal, or how did that kind of come about?
Yeah, I've talked about it before. I don't think with you, but the original, we started collaborating with them on counterfeit detection. So we saw some things, they saw some things in the grading room that were of interest that we started sharing information on. And so we started to develop a pretty great relationship on policing the hobby, if that makes any sense. Like we had some, it started with them. They had a submitter who was submitting cards, and it seemed like those cards had come from PSA, maybe they've been cracked out, through our image database, and they were super helpful. And so we started collaborating in that regard, sharing information that we're, on what we're both seeing. And then, we started getting really slammed on vintage. I think we get a lot of crap, deservedly, for being slower on turnaround times with vintage. And I collect vintage, like I feel it too. It's the hardest thing to grade in the grading room. Takes the most time, it's the most nuanced. And that's what SGC is best at, is pre-war especially, but vintage pre-79. And it really filled a gap for us. We want to have a talent advantage, and it starts with graders and experts. And we believe SGC, other than us, has the best grading talent when it comes to especially vintage cards, but also modern sports cards. And, having them in the umbrella, if you will, allows us to sleep better at night, knowing that if we get an onslaught, another avalanche of cards, and it's already paid off, we have talent, at our fingertips that we can leverage to meet the customer needs. And so that's where it started and went to. And they've been great to work with. Pete and Dave Foreman are really good. I mean, we've left them completely alone. I think they would say the same thing. Like they can continue to make their own decisions and operate. We did an analysis on customer overlap, and most people, I think it was like high 70%, low 80% of people don't submit to both companies. They only submit to one or the other. So there's not a lot of people who collect both, said differently.
So they bought the third largest card dealer just this year. It said that the deal happened in February, but between SGC and CCG, Beckett, and PSA, those are the four biggest card dealers. So I don't want to call it a monopoly, but they definitely they're ready for an influx on traffic because they can just put them over here on the PSA side. You need graders. You guys need people that are competent. They understand what the threshold is, what the benchmark is, what the quality is, because this is your identity. You can't be Beckett, and Beckett's known. There was the name. It was everything growing up for grading and for pricing. But unfortunately, Beckett has lost all integrity because of their CEO. Now you have a company like PSA that could literally either buy Beckett, which they could, but you don't. Let them just die out. They can't compete. They're not even close. So, PSA is going to be doing a million cards, and Beckett's going to do 50,000. Like it's going to be 20x on them. And then partnering up with the third largest card grader is great. So that's pretty good. I didn't know all of this about PSA, and I'm happy to take the time to learn about PSA, the growth opportunities, and what they're trying to do. Because now that you have this synergy and this partnership, co-branded partnership, you put just as much faith in GameStop as you do. My faith is also in Nat Turner and PSA and what they're going to do. And from what I can see, the guy's a stand-up guy. This guy's dialed in. He's not Adam Aaron. He's not trying to sell you on bullshit. And I say Adam Aaron to a point, to show you that there's guys out here like Sue Gove and Adam Aaron and Diane, Dr. Turner, whatever. These guys, they manipulate the info and they make it seem like it's something that it can't be. That's not what these guys are doing. He was surprised with GameStop. He was intrigued and he was like shocked. Elon Musk style, as in, hey, we've got the money, we've got the power, and we've got the ability. That's what that means. So I really like this.
So therefore, we want them to kind of make their own calls, make their own pricing decisions, make their own, product decisions. And I think it's worked well. I mean, it's almost been a year now. They've continued to grow. We've even, they're in our Slack channels. If we see a fake, all that content I was referring to, they have access to, vice versa. So, it's kind of like a shared brain, if you will, as far as grading talent. So.
Do we ever get to the point where some of the, would SGC cards be available to go directly to the PSA vault? Like, do we ever see? Over a long time, but is that like on a roadmap somewhere of like kind of integrate? Like you guys, it feels like PSA has all the bells and whistles.
Yeah,
like some of that stuff start to trickle down to them.
Oh yeah. We've talked to Pete about it. We have, again, it's product and tech. We've got so many things to do. It's what makes this business fun. But there's a never ending list. But yeah, having a SIN to the vault in their online submission center is on the list. It's not high on the list. I think Pete would rather have a set registry, for example, than that. But
which is a SGC set registry,
right? Totally. We don't have pop reports for Funko or set registry for banknotes, or there's so many things we need. It's just if you saw the list of things that we had, and like the people we have, and like where the line is cut off, and how many things are below it, it would freak you out. Be like as a collector, you're like, wait, why can't we do all? That's the fun stuff. But anyway, SGC is no different in that regard. So they in fact, it's even more so. Like their technical resources are a lot smaller. I mean, obviously it's a smaller business, but the vaulting is one, selling on eBay is another. But like I said, there's 30 or 40 things that probably are above that. If I'm Pete. So
yeah, you're speaking of like PSA bells and whistles coming down. Like a lot of this stuff's on the card side, like the direct to eBay, the vault, things like that. Do we? Is that something that will eventually trickle down to the other categories? Like, will comic books be able to take advantage of direct to eBay at some point in time, or vaulting, or instant offers, and all the different things?
So you can technically send anything graded to our vault today. I have comic books and coins and Funkos and all sorts of pops, all sorts of stuff in my vault account. As far as like automatically from the online submission center, the checkbox is only available for cards. But I've hacked it. I put my vault address as my shipping address. For all those other categories, and the vault happily accepts them, images them, stores them. But yeah, as far as having like that automated connection from the online submission center, all those other categories, including coins, will get lit up in time. But we got to get bin, buy it now out first, and offer.
Yeah, and you guys got a long list, but
but it'll happen. Tickets, packs, we get tickets. Funny enough, is probably the one we hear the most of all the things we do that aren't connected to the vault in an automated way. Is the one that we get asked about the most, and unopened packs. Tickets is growing extremely fast still here. And that's one we you can send to the vault, but we just don't have any like automated connectivity with yet. So
I do think it's really high for a hot minute. Type 1 photos are really popular too. Is that still the case, or is that going to go down?
That's a good question. I haven't looked at the date on that. I would think so, because I see them. Packs has slowed down. I do know that unopened packs, mostly because the vintage packs, like the most, not most, but I would say, well, maybe a lot of those have already been discovered, and the bolus of old packs is shrinking. That's out there, the universe. A lot of them are being opened, whatever. And TCG packs are popular, but they're not replacing the vintage as fast. But it's still growing, but just not. It's not as fast as it once was. Tickets is as fast as ever. I don't have any data on the photos.
I'm just curious.
The Funko Pops are growing really fast.
That's an I've never been a Funko Pop guy. I could see, because I do go to a lot of Comic Cons, I could definitely see the angle for autograph authentication on those, because a billion of those things get signed.
We see a lot of those
Comic Cons.
We're seeing a lot of unsigned ones. It's pretty cool. I work out of our Jersey City office most days and most weeks, and that's where we do them. And it seems like half the office is filled with Funko Pops all of a sudden. But yeah.
One last question, and I'll let you sneak out of here. Thank you once again so much for the time. Is there anything that you see, whether it's online in comments and YouTube videos or whatever, I don't want to say like grind your gears, but you're just like, oh my God, guys, you're just getting this so wrong? Or is there anything out there that you encounter like that you're just like, no, this is the way that it is, or this is the way that it works, or anything like that?
I don't. This may come as a surprise. Like, I don't spend a ton of time on comments. I love it. Better. Yeah. No, I love Instagram DMs. I mean, I respond to every single one, and I'm happy to engage with reasonable people. But most people in comments, in my experience, hide behind their username and try and mess with you. So I don't. The Twitter stuff. I mean, I would say well, it's a fair piece of feedback. Like, the turnaround times, like the fact that, our turnaround time clock doesn't start until we open the box. Like, that's one I hear a lot, which is completely fair. It grinds. I get so mad about it every time I see it because it's true. When we get crushed with specials, like the last day of the month, for example, we get a mini avalanche of boxes show up, and it does back up the receiving of those cards. It could be even a week or two, sometimes 3, before we actually open every box. And then our turnaround time starts then. We got to fix that. And we're not great at anticipating when those mini avalanches occur, and we have overtime. We don't. It's a business with people. Like we can't just go hire a bunch of people off the street and say, hey, help us open boxes. There's a lot of training, and we can't staff at peak levels at all times, right? So there's just a lot. That's one that I see pretty often, at least once a month or every month. An onslaught of that, and that it's completely fair. We've chipped away at it, but it's just not not where it needs to be.
Awesome.
So.
Well, Nat, thanks for the time.
Yeah.
This went a lot longer than I thought that it was going to, but I probably could have gone even longer. But I want to be respectful. So thanks again for coming on. Thanks for the information. Anything you want to tease or anything? We kind of talked about a lot already. So, all right. Awesome. Thanks again, Nat.
Yeah.
There you guys go. There's the whole interview. I'm not messing around when it comes to GameStop info. I think you guys need to know the history of it all, where it's going, what's that reaction to it. So I don't mind playing that whole video. Shout out to Neo Cards and Comics. The man only has 17,000 subs, but he's all over it, and that's pretty awesome. I wanted to talk about GameStop cards today. That's why it was there for me. Let's see, what does this say? Am I still on baseball? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm still there on baseball. I'm trying to see if I can change the... Yeah, that's it right there. Wow, some more cards coming out. Caitlin Clark rookie cards. They're down to 5. They had 12. Now they only have 5. And only 3,400 cards are available right now online. Sold about 100 during this live stream, which is really pretty cool. I was reading the chat while we do this, and I hope you guys know that this is awesome, right? The transition... If you guys were not here, I'll tell you this, okay? So back in the day, we were live streaming and we were talking, and GameStop announced an NFT marketplace. And you had to go find it. You had to click and talk to content. You guys think about it. I did 27 interviews with launch day creators for NFT marketplace. And it was like this phenomenon, like out of nowhere, like shot out of a cannon. But it had no traction, even though they did it the right way. Because it wasn't mass adopted. There wasn't the market calling, and it wasn't needed just yet. We're definitely early on the idea. But something like this, where it's already embedded, and it's so... massive. We literally slithered in with our name, our brand, and said we could do it better, or we can help, or we can increase. We can solve a problem. And the problem is, like Nat's talking about, is can we get these cards graded? Do we have to rely on these local card shops that upcharge you? Or can we take it direct to consumer, and can we put our name and our brand on it? They're utilizing, actually, their own infrastructure and making a profit off of fees and integrating eBay. But in the same way they're integrating eBay and coming up with ideas for eBay, they're already doing it with GameStop. GameStop literally is already a step ahead, because GameStop has that function where you can... Well, 1, they're going to go wholesale and buy cards. 2, you can already make an offer the minute it comes back, and you're sending it out, and it's free shipping, and it's tracking, and it's just the right extension to what GameStop already offers, right? These Pokemon launch days happen to be the biggest things happening at GameStop throughout the year. And all these sets of cards that come out, and I had the luxuries of opening up a 151. And I opened up 151 pack, and I went in there, and I hit cards, guys. I hit cards that I didn't know the value of them, but I sent out one, And I also have all these cards to still send out. And guys, if you don't think I'm sending these cards out, I'm absolutely sending these cards out because I'm going to allow GameStop to give me an offer. And the offer is going to be in their favor, not mine. But this is how I benefit my company and still facilitate the hobby. I can still take the funds they give me and buy more cards. And buy more and buy more and buy more. So I'm going to help out my company the best way I can. I don't care for the dollars myself. I don't, guys. I don't need top dollar. You know, I hate that the most about some people. I'm going to tell you a personal story of mine, and you guys can let it sit wherever you guys want. I don't care. I'll have stuff from time to time for sale. But there was a time where I had some GameStop shares, and I didn't have much like you guys. You know, I was sitting there with about 400 shares, or 51. And it was time to buy a house. And we needed money, my wife and I, because we needed to come up with $31,000 for the down payment and closing costs. And I already had like $12,000 in GameStop. And I was saying to myself, oh man, I don't want to sell this $12,000. I'll go ahead and leverage a position I have and I'll borrow money off of that. Because I have another portfolio where I have money and I can borrow money off of it. And I was like, okay, let me do that. And then I had cash. And then I had a car. And I had a weight set, a gym set, the whole bench and all the free weights and the bar and everything. And I said, you know what, babe? I'm going to sell my gym set. And I paid about $700 for all of the equipment. It's never been used, basically, as you can tell. I mean, I'm withering away in front of you. I'm not built. I'm only 250 pounds of army muscle, but you know. Anyway, I offered the gym set to a guy who agreed to come pick it up. Mind you, it's heavy as shit, all the weight. Who's going to transport it? And I sold it to him for $450. Less than what I paid. But the $450 was something that I needed at the time. Then I had a car. I had a Honda Accord. Put it on OfferUp. And I agreed to sell it for $2,700 cash. I sold another car for $500 cash. Now check this out, okay, guys? I want you guys to know something. That car was worth $5,000. The other car that I sold probably worth $2,000, $3,000. But I was selling it for prices that would benefit someone, not just myself. I don't need to be greedy. I hate it when I see people sell houses and try to get the top dollar. And they go, you know what? I don't care. I want the top dollar. I've never been that guy. I've been the guy that goes, you know what? There's a family over there that needs a house and it's going to make their world. It's going to make, you know what? I'll sell this house for $100,000 less just to make their life the best possible place to be. I've always been that guy, and I will always be that guy. I will never ask full price of anything, and I will always give you everything. God has given me the opportunities to be who I am today. And I'm so blessed. And I might not have what my brothers and sisters have, and I might not have what others have on YouTube and the internet, where they're all stacking up, subscribers and thousands of dollars for Discord fees, and they're all raking it in. They're all making a living off of this. I might not have all that, guys. But I have integrity. I have love for my family and friends. I have a crowd that watches religiously, and they know I'm coming from the right way. So yeah, I buy a pack of cards and I hit, and I get a nice card in there like the Shohei Ohtani. Give me some value for it, GameStop. I'm okay. I don't need it all. Give me some value for this damn Pokemon card that I'll never need. I don't need it. Let me give away my Caitlin Clark rookie card to someone on Santa Monica Pier that I'll never see again. Let me give away the Kobe Bryant rookie cards that I've bought already. Let me just give and give back and give back. But as long as GameStop's getting something out of it, I'm getting something out of it. Not a dollar is wasted on this show for anything that's not related to GameStop. That's how I give back. So, I might not have much, but at least I have GameStop. That's all I just want to tell you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for joining the channel. And yes, we have plenty of giveaways happening on Tuesday. Raptor 8 right here. I'm giving away 2 of them on the stream. I'm going to add your name to the wheel if you are a member of this channel. So if you are a paid member of the channel, it is $3 a month. You have the option and the ability to win a Raptor 8. Doesn't cost you much, but hopefully you guys get enough information, education, and a whole lot of selfless service to this nation called GameStop. Enjoy, guys. I'm going to get back to the wife. I'm going to get out there. I see some people in the chat. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you again. Yeah, you know, Captain Price, I want to say thank you for showing up to the channel, and no one will ever see you again. Okay? If you haven't seen me for almost 4 years on YouTube and what I do for people and this investment, then that's your fault, not mine. You'll miss out. Who else wants to speak out of turn? I have no problem. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you. Anybody else, guys? Anybody else wants the keys to the back of the building? Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys so much. You guys have a good night. If there's any other clowns in the chat, don't worry. The minute I see them, they're blocked and banned. That's just the way I do it. GameStop. Can't stop, won't stop, GameStop. I'm doing my best to not play copyrighted music like you guys asked me not to, so that we can see, so we don't get in trouble so much. Have a good night, guys. Peace.
Going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Screw Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking, because we're going to the moon. One day, very soon, gonna wake up on the moon. Brand new yacht and a McDonald's in my living room. Bright yellow Lamborghini, 50-meter swimming pool. Champagne every day, ain't fam, what you do? Wanna hang, wanna chill? Oh, you got a mansion too? Oh, that's right, held on tight, jack titties every night. We was in way back when they tried to drop it down to 10. Angies couldn't comprehend, Ace was strong until the end. Now let's retell it, Citadel they be sweating. Had enough of these felons, but the Ace we rebelling. Cause we never be selling till we send it to heaven. Now we be out here yelling, hey, screw you, Kenny.